All right. Look what I can do.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do, so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move, so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, speaking fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead of say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness.
What are the humans doing? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am here this evening with people, and we're going to be talking with him and having a general discussion about some particular videos we picked out. Um, it's not going to be an open panel tonight. I don't think we're going to be live that late for me to do an open panel, but we've got a pretty good bit of a selection of video. So, Arkansas, welcome out, honey. I was so sad to see what happened. I actually was drowned in editing when all of that went down. I totally missed it. Hey, Shades, good to see you, brother. I'm gonna go ahead and bring the man up here and let him have his say, and then we'll have our own. Let me try that again. I did it wrong. All right. I want people. Yeah. This is what we do,
Press
man.
on, press harder, press now, and suck a dick, bitch, in honor
Yeah,
of Snarkansas. Glad to see that you're out. Yeah, those were epic words. I
I love
caught that. And I like how you said it twice, too, nice and slow for him.
it. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Let me turn that off. All right, Snark. Since you're in chat, if you're still here, do you mind if I show your arrest? I'll skip it if you want me to. But while we're waiting for her to answer,
I say show it.
I'm probably gonna show it either way.
Show it. Show it.
I
Let's
I
do
would
it
like
to
her.
it. Like
I would
Pruitt
very
used to
much
do it.
like her approval.
Yeah.
It'd be nice.
Yeah. It's a how-to episode on how to suck a dick, bitch.
Right? I think it's
Yeah,
great.
for
I'm
sure.
very strong believer in person. I'm pretty sure that noises out of a person's mouth hole can't hurt people.
Yeah, we got gang activity going by.
Hear it. See, it's amazing how they get away with just announcing their presence like that, isn't
Right? They're being disorderly.
it? Totally, just completely disorderly. All
Yeah.
right, I'm gonna let it roll. She hasn't said no, or maybe she just swung by and let us know. All right, well, she's out now, so I'm gonna put a little bit of volume to this, and you've already seen it, right?
Yeah, well let's
I watched
let's
enough to
let's do it.
verify where it was at, and I didn't actually watch but this little bitty beginning piece, and I was like, "Ooh, that's good." I will put that up. How we angel thing. Let's see. Is there any way? Oh no, I think it's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
shoot.
Okay.
Oh,
There you go. The action starts pretty quick, so don't run anywhere. Hey, hippie, how you doing, brother?
Real
Jingy?
Jingy, cheers. Wandering hippie, smoking auditor. Yeah.
No, he's good.
April rain.
Light the candle on this, y'all. Somebody pulled the pin
and
on
this is
Snot.
also the council chambers. In the city, it posts its council meetings on YouTube. I found that a few days ago. And except for, private things like hiring people and stuff like that, which is fine because we should be able to FOIA those records. Whether we get them all in one piece or if they redact the heck out of them because they don't understand public records. Well, there you go. It's always a toss of the coin, ain't it?
Yeah, no,
Fudge
she's not wrong.
sickles. This fucker's gonna have to let me in that room or I'm
Here we
gonna
go.
die and make him fucking.
Somebody just pulled the pin on her. I
I'm
think it
not
was the
dying
heat.
for any of these freaks.
Okay, shut the door. Thank you.
Oh my god!
Yep, that's about all she wrote. That's all she could take.
Hey, little river band, come here. Yeah, I just called little river band to come help me because he seems to be the one.
This is Snark and Sass's arrest this morning.
I'm gonna start having some kind of medical episode if I don't get in there and sit down in a normal seat like a normal person and be given the respect of a citizen. I am my lawyer. Lawyers don't have to leave their stuff outside. This is my stuff that I have to have. I'm my lawyer. Don't talk dumb to me. I am not upset, lady. I can hold on to it because I have to have it. I've got brain damage. I don't remember things. I wasn't even able to put it all together in a complete manner. I don't know what in the heck's going to happen in there. You people, I will hold on to it and go sit down because that's what lawyers do. Well, keep saying it because it's just evidence. Good for me. I could use $30,000. Shut your stanky little mouth. Suck a dick, bitch. You can't tell me where to sit. I said, suck a dick, bitch. You can't tell me. I'm going to, am I?
Yes, ma'am. Right. Put your hands behind your back.
You know what I want is for you guys to stop touching me. It's called the First Amendment. I'm not screaming and throwing things. I know better than you. You just railroad people up through stuff. Are you going to let me go to court or are you denying me entrance and the right to represent myself? I understand y'all aren't going to. I understand you, little missy. I hate you people. No,
Hey,
fuck you. I hate you.
Welcome to the show, brother. All right, and that's pretty much where all of that ended. That's the last bit that I'm aware of. Pretty much goes off then. I think that happened when she went to put it in her pocket or something. She set it down. She bumped the overlay.
I don't know. Maybe the cop took her phone. I don't know, but obviously they were butthurt and tried to be the complainant on a disorderly conduct, which
Right.
doesn't fly.
That shouldn't work. Although her being in a small town up there, where in Tennessee, it might work. I hate to admit it.
Oh, she's in Tennessee,
Tennessee, Kentucky, something like that, somewhere up there. She ain't
something
terrible.
like that. I
Hey,
see. I
John, we
see John Eagle in the chat. Yeah, yeah.
got caveman's come
Captain
by.
Caveman.
We have the shades of
Excellent.
Virginia.
Yeah,
Good to
yeah.
see everybody here.
The
All right, so
shades
let's
of
get into your
Dominion.
stuff. We've got a particular video here that you requested. It's 50 minutes long.
Oh, we're not
So
going to watch the whole thing.
I was just fixing to ask: is there a particular part you'd like to start at?
Yeah, just start right at the beginning, and it happens like right away and everything.
You vote
Many of you
different.
probably have already seen this. We're in Bakersfield with San Joaquin Valley Transparency
And this is
and
courtesy of
Nate
Sam Watkins.
Gates. Silence of the Law was there. Uh, a couple of bootlickers, Sire Pressing, and I mean, of course, there's always other peeps that don't get named. So sad for them, uh, but yeah, we're walking up on this scene, and I'm actually not even filming. Right, I don't have a camera on this day, and so there's a hill to the right, and there I go. San Joaquin's filming me. I'm with Sire Pressing, and we go up on this hill, and then I walk past where the officers are, and it was slippery on there, so I slid down the grass and onto the sidewalk. But there was no caution tape or anything like that.
That's not a
And
crime scene.
no, it's not. They're doing like a DUI test, and you see that officer. That was Officer Kidwell. He got all pissy and put his ticket book away, and comes over and I asked if this was still a free fucking country, and if that sidewalk was closed, and that's what pissed him off, because they were yelling at me to get the hell out of there, and I don't know why or where I was supposed to go. But as you can see, they chased me all the way down there, almost out of view, right? And we'll get an angle from that in a minute, right? But San Joaquin is gonna go over there and see what happens, and then we'll get back to what actually was said and everything. But this is how people do it, folks. You
What
know,
was it you said? Hold on. I made a banner out of it
there's Nate Skates running
right there. Press on, press harder, press now.
on the like button. Make
Yeah.
sure to comment, share, subscribe.
Hey, I got one
Yeah,
of those.
yeah.
Get this done. Wait.
So in the police report, Kidwell and Ramsher, they were the two officers right there where I am. Uh, they wrote that I continuously chased them, yelling at them, in interfering in their stop. Now, see how this is how people do it, right? They don't assist, they don't resist either.
Right.
Don't try this at home, folks, unless you're literally standing on the hill, unless you truly believe that nobody can hurt you except yourself. See, you're not going to see this very often, uh, but they have zero training and don't know what a rap is or anything. They just grab by the arms and rip and
Right.
pull. And if you
Yeah.
resist at all, they're going to pull your arm out of your socket.
Yep.
It's going to cause great pain, but I feel no pain. You know, it's hard to watch this. It looks very painful, even for me watching it now. I'm like, damn. But I was fine the
Right.
whole time. I was in my happy place with one foot on the Fourth Amendment and one foot on the First Amendment, and my head in the preamble, and
I
and
hear you.
nobody can touch me there, right? I'm in my body and I'm secure, like the people are, stated in the Fourth Amendment, and it's just a beautiful place when you can do that, right? And they're already experiencing the torment that that they usually inflict on everybody else that assists them, right? They're quickly realizing that they can't make me do a goddamn thing.
Oh,
And
that makes my shoulders hurt just watching it, dude. Oh,
Right.
much respect. Oh,
Right. So this night, San Joaquin had given me $500, and when I met him, and they take it out of my back pocket and steal it, right, and then claim that I didn't have any money on me at the time, and everybody that was with me knew that I did have it, right, and San Joaquin actually filmed them taking the money out, and it was Kidwell, the guy with the ticket book in his back pocket, and they stole it, you know. But as people, I don't make claims to ownership. I might keep and bear, but I don't own, right, and so I don't use a name, right. I'm just people, and they booked me as
we're gonna
press
get
on.
more into that a little later on. We're gonna go through the videos, and then you can go whole hog on that whole thing. We'll hear the whole thing out, however
Yeah,
you want to explain it.
yeah.
And I'll
Well,
even fix your mic so that it doesn't do that so much.
right.
There you
On
go.
the next clip, we'll play the volume if that's cool
All
with
right,
you, because
that's
that's where what happened and what I said and everything, and how they chased me all the way down. Well, not really chased. I wouldn't say I was leading them down there, but there were two
They
bootlickers
definitely
there.
followed you. You did
Yeah.
not chase them.
No, I definitely wasn't chasing them. I mean, I was past their scene, and as if there's such a thing as their scene, right? Cops often think that they have some bubble around them that everybody's just supposed to notice and
Yeah,
can't go through
pretty
without
sure
any
it's
without
bad.
any tape or anything. This is Bakersfield. There's a lot of peeps on the street, as you can see. There's all those cars going by. The sidewalk's not closed down. Pretty soon in this video, they're going to put up caution tape or put up crime scene tape around there to make sure nobody goes through. But it's like closing the barn door after the horse got out.
Right. Wasn't this a DUI check?
Yeah, that's what they
Do
were
they
doing.
often do they often put crime tape up around a DUI check?
Hell no,
I've never seen it.
no, hell no. There's no reason to do that. Let me try and get. I heard an echo just now, so all right. I reset my echo cancellation, and we're back in business.
There will be an
Yes.
occasional echo. There's not much that can be done about it in StreamYards. It happens. I don't know why. Uh, but I'm gonna sit on top of your mic settings and make sure it doesn't start crackling on you so you can be heard.
See, that's Kidwell right there, and he's telling San Joaquin that I didn't have any money, right?
Okay.
And San Joaquin knew that that was a lie, right? Because I mean, he had literally just handed me the money. He knew, you know, and um, and San Joaquin is a badass. I wouldn't have wanted to experience anything like this without him there. That was classic, you know. And they all stuck around for a long time after this, like an hour, and the bootlickers were saying that the cops were just doing their job and stuff. It was really rather disgusting to hear freedom haters um, preaching their tyranny and their hopes and their dreams of a dictatorship for the future, and that's where it's leading to.
It
You know,
is. I'm not
when,
happy about it.
you're not happy about it. Yeah,
I'm not a
it's
big fan of dictatorial powers.
right.
It only has one outcome, and it's not pretty.
It's not pretty, but that's the natural
Eventually,
course of
people stand
events.
up.
Is democracies turn to tyrannies every single time. The citizens get complacent, and one thing leads to another, and one little rule turns into two rules, to four rules, to eight rules,
Right?
to
And then
16
they have to
rules.
have an entire administrative division to deal with all the people, to deal with all the rules, to write more rules so they can have more administrative decisions to make. That's all
Yeah,
an administration is good for.
yeah. And when we have, a Congress that's graded on what they got done, and the only thing that they're allowed to do is write laws. So it's like they didn't do anything if they didn't write another law. They're constantly writing more freaking laws,
Right.
right? I mean, Congress was never intended to be in session all year long or most of the year. You know, they do take a break and stuff, but and most of the time they can't get anything done, and everybody's screaming they don't do anything. Well, that would be nice if they weren't doing anything. I mean,
right? I prefer an ineffective government in
yeah,
absolutely every part of its existence,
yeah, absolutely. See, now they're putting up crime scene tape and blocking it off.
and it doesn't
For,
even matter.
right, it doesn't even matter. I mean, I was well out of their scene. I was back behind the camera line anyway when they finally grabbed me. You know.
So, so it appeared to me as there it goes doing that thing I told you about. Uh, it appears to me as if they went um, that after you walked by and were well out of the scene, they decided to go back and go get you.
Yeah, well, they just kept following me. If we get to the video that was on Wright's Krispies channel and play it with volume, then since I mean,
Okay,
there's really no point in
you can
watching
do that.
this because without volume. But if we get to yeah, make sure to play the volume on this one.
I'll skip a little bit because this thing comes in real hot. I gave him the tail end of his boat. All right, right, Crispy. I'm not hating on you, man. That's a pretty hefty intro you got.
That's,
Yeah, it comes in a little hot.
yeah, yeah.
Right? I like it though. Beautiful, no doubt. It's beautiful. All right.
Get out of our seat. Get out of our seat. This is my fucking seat. This is a free fucking press. Do you want to fight the First Amendment? Huh? Do you see all these fucking cameras? Do you know what a camera is?
Yeah, you causing trouble, so go.
Fuck
Get out of our
you.
seat.
Have you
Get out
ever
of our
seen a
seat.
protest?
Sir, you have one more warning and you're going to go in handcuffs.
For
We're
what
delaying. You're under arrest. Come here.
Hey! I've got this on camera.
That's disgusting.
Sorry, Charlie.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Stop that.
so you can stop that video, but
Just stop.
so
Make it stop. All right. Let me pause that one and back it up to the beginning. There we go. All right. We're set up for the next one, which is your first video, right?
but just to talk about that a little bit more though,
Let's cover this. I'm going to start.
you know, you could see that there were two guys standing there filming already, and I got back behind them, right?
Right.
And so if they could stand there, I could stand there, right? You know, this is a well-known line that I said. I said, "This is my fucking scene," and it absolutely was my fucking scene. It still is. You know, I'm still controlling the narrative on this, right? And I made it an intro for a long time where I played it in reverse to fit their police report, right? Because they were saying that I chased after them, so I showed me throwing them off, like I was on the ground, and then I throw them off, and then I chase them all the way back to the DUI scene, right? And yeah, they literally, like, I don't know, wanted to kick me out of the whole town or whatever, like uh Travis Hines was just kicked out of the town in Minnesota, I think. Um, you know, that's the mentality on these guys. That was Officer Kidwell and Ramsher, right? And I mean, the night didn't end there. Let me tell you, it was quite an ordeal. They drugged me around a couple of parking lots. I mean, drugged me around, right? Like my pants looked like I had been run over by a couple of cars.
And there was
Uh,
no sense in all that. I mean, they could have stuck you in a car nearby. Instead, they drug you around. They did that just to be a dick.
Yeah, they took me to the hospital with my hands cuffed in a wheelchair, my hands cuffed behind my back in a wheelchair, and left me in the wheelchair. I mean, you're not supposed to do that, right? You're supposed to cuff somebody to the arms of the wheelchair. You're not supposed to sit
Right.
somebody in a wheelchair with their hands cuffed. But they did that for a couple of hours, and I don't talk to them. I don't answer questions. I don't speak. I don't assist them in any way, and it's really frustrating for them because they don't know what the hell to do. Uh, you know,
Right.
they kept me there in what I call my royal palace for about 2 days, and I didn't eat. I didn't drink any water, and they eventually carried me out. Right, and that's not something you see every day. Somebody getting carried out of the what they call a jail, but this is how we do it, right? And if you're going to try and exercise rights, you have to literally be willing to die on the hill, right, and never give in.
When
And if you're going to
when
give
people
in at
come
some point, you might as well just give in immediately,
when
right, and
people come to
comply.
me and suggest that they want to become an auditor, I ask them their lawyer's name, and they're like, "What do you mean?" I said, "How do you expect to be a cop watcher or an auditor without having already retained a lawyer? You should have already had this conversation with your lawyer if you're going to be like out there doing that thing, or
Who
have
said
an
that?
agent set up."
Who said that?
When someone asks me about becoming an auditor, they say,
Oh,
I want to be an auditor and I'm going to go out there, and they're living like their normal life, wife, kids, all that stuff. I ask them their lawyer's name. And if they can't tell me their lawyer's name, I suggest they find out their lawyer's name before they go auditing, because you're going to find out your lawyer's name real soon after you go.
real soon.
Real soon.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna audit, I don't audit, I press, right?
Right.
There's a big difference, in my opinion. An audit is where you're setting up the circumstances, you're going somewhere, you're picking the place and the time, and nothing's really going on that you know of, but you're just trying to observe and make sure that they uh, respect your rights. But pressing is going to a situation that's already going on, and you're trying to find out what's going on, right? Getting the details, why somebody got pulled over, or who knows, other details, right? And
Correct.
that's the difference. I don't go looking for problems. It just, if it's in front of my face, then I'll film it, right? Uh, when you go looking for problems, it's easy to find them, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, anybody looking for a problem will almost immediately find one. It's kinda like a
Yeah,
carpenter looking for a nail. You know what I mean? Like, he's got the
yeah,
hammer already, he's probably gonna hit it.
yeah. Many times I go weeks without seeing any gang activity, and I love it. If I never saw another cop, I'd be happy with that. I don't go looking for them at all
But why
whatsoever.
would
But
I've
yeah, why?
never seen a cop solve a problem. Every situation a cop gets involved with typically creates more problems for everyone involved.
Typically,
Now, there may be exceptions to that under certain circumstances when people need that type of help, like some paperwork filled out or something. They're real handy, you know. That's what they do
if they want to
if
assist
they
you,
want to. That's true.
yeah. I mean,
Very true.
if you've gotten on their bad side, then they're probably not going to assist you,
Yeah, then you get the snark and sass treatment,
right?
which was completely uncalled for. They should have let that woman sit down somewhere,
They should have let that woman sit down somewhere. Yeah.
right?
Oh, but for all the viewers and everything, you definitely want to stick around to the end because there's going to be some exclusive footage that's never before been seen,
And
and
provided by our lovely
yeah,
guest.
yeah, it's only going to be here on Caucasian Sasquatch, and so
Okay.
you definitely don't want to miss that.
I
That's
actually didn't watch any of that stuff because I'm gonna go at it as a reaction right after we get done here. But you know what it is? It's 30 minutes in, and at 30 minutes in, I've got this thing I do, and I've been telling you about it, but I haven't actually showed you what it is. All right, I told you
oh
I have
yeah,
one
yeah,
gimmick.
yeah. Go ahead and do your thing.
I have one gimmick that I
I
do.
know what it is. I know what it is. The
All right,
paleontologist.
cool.
Yeah.
Let me fix the microphone again. Make sure that's done. Okay. All right. We're gonna do this the correct way. Now, I'm sure I can do it right. We're gonna pop that up. Do this, do here.
Oh,
The best part about all this,
357 SIG beats 9mm. Yeah.
yeah,
Car thief news.
You don't want cars?
it's working.
Yes! I'm a paleontologist. Oh, it's okay. There's dynamite in this bag, too. I am a paleontologist. I'm a paleontologist. Paleontologists study really old stuff.
Like crackers.
Because bad movies are funny.
Okay, so people has been generous enough to provide me with his very first video.
Yeah.
We're gonna check it out later on.
The
All
very
right.
first video I posted on Press On, which was a few years ago. This was in Austin.
It's official paleontology here.
Yeah, like crackers.
Like crackers.
Yeah, I like that. There's that circle of death.
I'm so unhappy.
What's going
about
on?
it.
I thought you had these on your computer, already ready to go.
It was, and it glitched like just as we were starting up. I told you, you heard me going, "Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it," and I got it started.
There we go. But play it with volume. Let's actually watch this video with volume.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I missed that
That's
intro with the
proves
grenade and the burning girl.
on fire.
I'm at Starbucks. I didn't catch what happened actually right at first here, but it was weird because the tall trooper was talking to these two gentlemen, and there was no trooper car that I could see, except he was in a drive-through lane. Excuse me? No, I'll stand where I want. Yes, sir. But not unless you're detaining me for a crime. This public property.
Yes, sir, but this is our place. You might stand on the back.
If you want to put tape around it and block this area off, but deal with them all you want.
Okay, so let's come over here.
Don't put your hands on me.
Come over here by the pole. You can.
Excuse me, I can stand right there if I want, like 2 feet away from you. 10 feet is fine.
No, sir.
10 feet is fine.
Can I make an observation? Just
I don't need to.
There's an entire traffic stop not happening here because these idiots have decided to come talk to you.
It's not even a traffic stop. They're just talking to that guy. I think they're actually an informant. They didn't stop that guy. The trooper was in the drive-through line of Starbucks, and
there's
2 troopers there, and the tall trooper was in the line at Starbucks, and he comes up and gives the short trooper a drink. Right, so they're just talking to that guy, those 2 guys, and my guess is that they're like informants or something.
Basically, would have to be, right? I mean,
Yeah.
given the reaction you got, you can't
Yeah.
film this. Why not?
Yeah.
Because they're informants.
Right, but it's definitely not a traffic stop, and it's not
Okay.
their scene or whatever the hell. They're at Starbucks, and they're acting like thugs, like bullies, like that's their whole fucking parking lot, and it's not.
It's not.
I'm sick and tired of the Blue Line gang trying to come in and take over private property like that. You know, they're disrupting business and hurting private businesses. You know, they're scaring away customers. They should keep it to the roads. You know.
Absolutely. See, I'm not a big fan of cops on private property in the first place. I really hate the idea of the police working at Walmart after hours.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems too much, like too far in hand. If you get what I'm saying, it just don't make no sense to me. If we're paying them a living wage, why do they have to hire on to a private corporation in their moonlighting hours? That's just not legitimate. That's shady and nefarious.
Yeah, federal law enforcement aren't allowed to do it by the Constitution. They're not allowed to hold any other position, but state officers can, and it's definitely a sham for sure. They're selling the police powers to the highest bidder is what they're doing.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and this
I mean,
is
not even
why.
basically, elementally.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. But these guys aren't working for Starbucks or anything here. They've just come and done a takeover of the parking lot, you know. But they don't want to admit it until somebody with the camera is there. And then, I mean, I'm literally like 30 feet away.
Yeah, you're nowhere near them. You never got anywhere close, but you had a camera, and that
Right.
seems to be a bigger issue than the rest of it. If they wanted to talk to a confidential informant, you know how they're supposed to do it? They're supposed to arrest him and take him in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know for certain that that's a confidential informant. That was just
Just
a
saying,
guess of
it is.
mine. Yeah.
This is
That
not
it's
how they're
just,
supposed to deal with it.
right. It's not. But something shady was going on here for sure. And it wasn't a traffic stop. And yet they're trying to claim a bubble.
All right, let's go through the rest of it, and we'll have us a chatter. Okay,
Yeah, it's a short.
sir.
It's a short video. Yeah, let's finish it.
We'll let it go.
Gentlemen, this is the free press. This is the free press. You guys are. I want to know why you were in that drive-through line instead of backing up your partner.
Actually, I don't hear your question. I don't answer to you. Understand?
Well, I don't answer to you either. I'm one of the people engaged in free press, a constitutionally protected activity, and you notice that's why you're taking the walk of shame. See how that guy tried to intimidate me, put his hands on me, act like he was doing something?
Thank you, AJ.
And now they're all running away? Yeah, see, take the walk of shame. Take the walk of shame. That's why you couldn't get me to move, huh? That's why I'm not in cuffs? Because you guys are a joke trying to intimidate the people, trying to stop the free press? What's up with that? You don't respect the Constitution? The First Amendment? This is the state troopers, the highway patrol that we have? I've never in my life been treated like that. Was that an informant? Is that what that was? You guys are trying to hide in the Starbucks line?
Yep.
That's 07377 Texas.
There you go.
Well, I'm glad I got the camera on that one.
And people win again because it's a conspiracy. Well, I mean, that's pretty much what a group of people deciding to do something nefarious together is, ain't it?
Yeah. It doesn't have to be nefarious. It's just that there's a conspiracy for the people to win. You know, it's not illegal or a crime. And it's not a theory. It's a fact, Jack. But that was good to look back and see the very first video
That was
ever.
cool, man. I like that. You
Yeah.
broke that place up like a shattered window.
Yeah, that was a good way to start that channel. Press on. Those damn troopy poopies, man.
Good stuff.
Those damn troopy poopies. Yeah, yeah. Oh, this is the next video. You've already got it pulled up.
Yep.
This is from the this is from Press Harder. This is a protest in Ocala, Florida. The only thing that makes it onto Press Harder are protests. You know, I don't waste the time of the court of public opinion anymore with anything less. You know, just like cops, they don't take you to court for not doing anything wrong. They don't go and highlight the good drivers, and I don't go and highlight the good cops. I mean, as if, you know, it's just
Exactly.
it's a waste of the time of the court of public opinion. If you get a notification from Press Harder, you know shit's going down.
It's already down.
Yeah, it's time to come over and check it out, right? Because it's serious. It's not no petty bullshit, something hanging from your rearview mirror nonsense. It's getting real. There's unlawful orders, and there's a fucking protest, and piggies are squealing, and their tails are kinking left and right. Their donuts are getting stretched out. Their sprinkles are getting twisted and crossed.
I'm gonna have to work on that for a saying, brother. I'm gonna chew on that. Their donuts are getting stretched out and the sprinkles are getting twisted. There's some magic in there.
Yeah,
Let me chew
it's
on
crossed. Yeah.
Sir.
We're flying along. This is like a 10-minute video here. But
you
then,
Do you want volume with it, or it's 31 minutes? But do you want volume with it, or do you want to? Let's see. Let me make sure I got the right one.
Oh yeah, no, you don't have the right one if it's 31 minutes, um, because that's the original version.
Right.
But the
I have
version
a.
on Press Harder is
This, wait, this is the protest. Did I
has
miss a video
commentary.
somewhere?
The version on Press Harder has commentary. Just go to the Press Harder channel if you don't have it up, and I can show you which one it is.
Okay, we'll do it this way. It might crash my computer, but I'm gonna
I
try.
I sent you the link.
Yes, sir. And I thought I had them all lined up. I may have just closed the wrong window just now.
I mean, you could just play that because it'll just go right into it. Yeah, just play the one you have. Forget the commentary that I
Yeah,
have.
You want sound?
press
Yeah.
harder, Neil.
All right.
We got gang activity.
We got gang activity.
Good old Ocala.
This is gonna start real quick.
He wants to have an attitude. Is this sidewalk closed? Is this sidewalk closed? Is this sidewalk closed? Is this sidewalk closed? It is? Get your yellow tape out and close it. It's not fucking closed. You're a lying sack of shit is what you fucking are. I'll walk anywhere I goddamn want in the United States of America. Piece of shit. Fucking tyrant.
Yeah, pause it.
Real.
Yeah. So when I first walked up, I said that this cop has an attitude. And when somebody says that you have an attitude, what they're really talking about is your body language, right? The attitude, the way you're facing, the way you're standing, the attitude that you have, right? And he wanted to look at me funny, take a side goggled look and shit. And I knew that he was going to say something stupid, and right away he did, and he told me to like keep on going or something, or
He immediately gave you a directive.
yeah, something stupid. Like, I mean, I'm on the sidewalk, he's in the street, like a freaking idiot. He should have been on the sidewalk, and looking in the passenger side. But cops have this attitude, like they are invincible. They're superhuman, and they want to complain about how dangerous their stop is and everything, but yet they're standing in the freaking street,
Right?
right?
What's the first thing a cop does when he pulls up on a scene, park in the middle of the road with his lights on, leave the car running?
Yeah,
I don't
it's
care
just
what they're doing. That's what they do.
that's what they do, and it's just dumb shit. I mean, he's not worried about the cars driving by him at 30, 40 miles an hour. He's worried about me walking
Somebody
by on a public sidewalk, right, with both hands visible, a cup of coffee and a camera, right? Cheers, everybody, slancha, yeah,
Yeah,
um, yeah. Coffee is good and everything.
I like coffee.
And I never am without a cup of coffee, right? And so I had a cup of coffee and a camera, and and he's worried about that, right? It's just, but these cops are rare, right? Most of the time when I film, cops don't give me any issue at all,
Right?
right?
That's
Right?
my experience. I've had problems with a single officer. One. I've never seen him again, and he only gave me problems while he was in my life. I got rid of him as soon as I could.
Well, I'm not saying that just because they don't get an attitude with me that they're a good cop, but they just haven't got caught
Good
yet,
start.
probably. But I'm just saying that most of them have learned. When I first started filming, it wasn't that way. I got a lot of orders, a lot of ID requests, but now, like, almost never does a cop ask for an ID anymore. So they are learning. It is having an effect filming these bastards. But this guy on this night hadn't learned yet, right? But I guarantee you, he will never fucking forget meeting one of the people this time.
Before I
Uh,
start this back up, I want to ask you a question, and this is
sure,
just if you're willing to answer.
sure.
Is there any amount of training that could prepare an officer for dealing with cop watcher auditors?
I mean, it goes back to the type of personality that even wants to be a cop. They've already been trained. Um, they've probably been bullied, right? And now they want to bully, right? There's two
Right.
types of officers. They're the ones that
Hall
want to,
monitors.
yeah. There's the hall monitors, that want to tell on everybody, and then there's the ones that want to help everybody to death, but with or without your consent, right? But
Yeah,
as far as training, I mean, there's plenty of training, but if you don't hold them accountable, it doesn't matter what you train them. And the training itself is unaccountable, right? It's pass or
agreed.
fail. It's freaking garbage. I've never been a cop, but once upon a time I was a firefighter, and I know what those kind of trainings are like, and they're very similar, right? It's the same kind of thing. You got a
Sure.
bunch of good old boys going to a firefighter training, and it's really nothing but a goddamn vacation, and it's not graded. It's just pass or fail, and everybody consults each other for the answers. And it doesn't matter if you have the right answers. What matters is that you have the same answers as everybody else.
Conformity.
Yeah, having the right answers is actually not a good thing if it's not in agreement with the rest of your officers or firefighters. So if the whole group is saying the same stupid shit, like anybody that gets asked for an ID has to give an ID, then that's what the department is going to do, right?
Yeah.
And but this guy was an anomaly on this department of Ocala. Uh, I filmed a lot of stops in Ocala, and none of the cops engaged me really. I mean, some of them did talk to me and have conversations, but nobody gave me a hard time except for this fuck stick right here. But he learned his lesson. I'm sure of it. Yeah, yeah. But as far as training, it's really about accountability, And as long as they have qualified immunity, and
They will
you can
adopt
make
held
any
accountable.
rule, any training, if they don't have to follow it, then why
Yeah.
would they? It doesn't matter.
That was exactly the point I was going to bring up. If you had come to the conclusion that training would help, I would say, what about a qualified immunity? And if you brought up qualified immunity, I say, but more training. That's how the argument goes.
Yeah, I mean, like we could, say, oh, what if we overturned Terry versus Ohio or something, right? Just,
Right.
pull that out of thin air, right? Well, let's say that Terry versus Ohio was overturned, right? And then a cop violated it. Well, what difference does it make? Because they still have qualified immunity.
Right.
It's not going to change anything. Uh, it's qualified immunity is the issue right now, I would say.
I'm kind of weirded out by the way qualified immunity exists in the first place. It was never voted on, it was never issued, it was never written. It was simply enacted by the judicial system as if they had that
Yeah.
authority. They don't. They never have. They interpret law. They do not write it. This
Yeah,
is
well, I can understand the
technically a
doctrine.
law written by the judicial branch, which is completely and totally inappropriate, non-constitutional. Just the fact that it was enacted by the judicial branch, that fact alone, regardless of what the law says.
Right. Well, I mean, there was no law that they were contradicting. It was just that, I mean, it does make sense, that if you're if you're not going to require cops to know the law, right? Like it's not required of them to train on the law or the Constitution.
Then you need
Then
to protect them
don't be
sometime.
surprised when they don't know the law, right? So, I think the court was really like calling out the legislature for not training them to do the job that you expect them to do,
It
right?
looks to me like a Band-Aid over a gaping wound.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's been taken to new, new unforeseen limits where you have to have a case exactly like that one
It has
has
to be
already
ironclad, you
happened.
can't do nothing with it.
Yeah, it's total bullshit, but it can be overturned by law. for sure. But the
Sure.
legislatures just haven't taken action on that. I mean,
Well,
they
what
have in some states. We'll see
for the
where
most
that
part,
goes.
the legislature benefits from the qualified immunity statute by keeping more corrupt cops on the street.
Yeah, but again, I mean, that's not for people. You know, people don't sue, right? The court of public opinion is what it's all about, and they don't have qualified immunity in the court of public opinion, right? When
That's
the
true.
people and the citizens take away respect, and they point their fingers and they point their cameras and they reduce these puddles of donut spooge to what they are, uh, you know, and then um,
I'm
then
sorry you
cops,
got me with that one.
yeah, then cops lose their morale, and that's really what they want. I mean, they want money, but they also want to be treated a certain way. And when the citizens don't treat them that way, then they don't want to be cops anymore, right?
That's
And they're
true.
quitting faster than cops can be hired. You know, so that's really where the power is in shaming them, right? Humiliating them and letting them know that they're just worthless fucking pieces of shit, and that you know, it doesn't matter if there's bootlickers out there, because it's the ones that are yelling and screaming at them all the time that are in their face. You know,
Right?
the bootlickers aren't going to help them at the end of the day.
And there ain't enough of them. There are more people than there are bootlickers.
One would hope.
One would hope.
It's hard to
That's
get a count on it. You know, I've never actually met anybody that likes cops or trusts cops, or you know, feels safe around them. But when they get around them, then they've got Stockholm syndrome all of a sudden, and
Oh, you're not wrong. You're exactly right. I've seen
yeah,
that type of behavior a lot. It's really weird when you're dealing with a bunch of drug dealers who are hardcore thugs, and then a cop shows up and suddenly they're yes sir, no sir, three bagfuls, sir. Like where'd
yeah,
the hardcore thug go? He was
yeah,
just right here a minute ago talking trash, and all of a sudden he's talking real sweet with a white voice. What are you doing? I don't understand.
yeah. But even, you know, a typical middle class, um, you know, person, that doesn't really have any problems with the police, doesn't like them,
No,
right? They don't trust them.
I have
And
absolutely no legal entanglements whatsoever. I don't travel with anything illegal. I don't perform illegal activities, and I don't knowingly break any laws that I'm aware of. That being said, I'm not a big fan of cops getting behind me at all.
right, even cops are telling me that they're scared shitless when a cop gets behind them when they're off
Y-
work.
Well,
You
have
know,
you seen how they treat other cops in some cases? Oh, well,
it's
you're
crazy.
armed. We got to have your firearm, and we need to know whether and we also got to have, and where is your service, and where are
Yeah,
it's, they don't have that right neither. I'm just saying, like, that's bullshit too.
I mean, I like it when government eats government. I
Sure.
don't defend government at all. uh, you know, it doesn't make me happy to see cops picking up cameras while they're off work. They're supposed to toe the government line. They are supposed to, um, you know, they're part of government, and they're supposed to act like government. They're When they get off, they're not supposed to try and act like people and blend in. No, they're fucking government, man.
That's true.
Yeah, and
Alright,
I yeah.
uh,
Let's get back to
we
the
we got
video.
we got this
Yeah, yeah,
video, and I've got actually, no, we'll run the whole thing,
yeah. Because
uh,
we're just gonna continue on.
right, I've got a
The
little
unseen
playout
footage is
I've got a little playout I typically do around 57 minutes, but you requested a particular show, so I'm gonna do your show. We're not gonna
yeah,
do the
because
time
yeah,
thing, we're just gonna take whatever time it takes to do it,
yeah,
okay?
it'll take about 2 hours. All right, let's continue.
However long you wanna do it, man. I'm
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Alright, we'll let it roll. I mean, actually, oh, the freaking thing. You're right. What are you doing? You're not doing anything.
Uh oh.
You were in the set. There we go.
Piece of shit.
I think that's my computer freaking out. Yeah, no, my mouse just went hinky. Yeah.
Why do you always got to blame the computer?
Because I have a crappy computer, I kinda gotta
Obviously, obviously, this is Putin's fault.
I blame the Russians. Obviously.
Yeah. This is Putin's fault.
Okay.
This is Putin's buffering.
Are you going to do it? Anything at all?
This isn't inflation.
That's that's straight. That's straight. That's straight. No,
Damn it.
everything but my videos are working. Like I've got chat, I've got all of YouTube functioning. The videos from the hard drive are doing that thing now.
That's not good.
Fucking tyrant.
See?
Yeah. Let it play.
Unfucking real. Filmed these guys about 15 times, and I've been nothing but complimentary about how they respected the First Amendment. But sure enough,
Yeah.
we found ourselves a tyrant. May you do your fucking job and leave me alone? No, you fucking listen to me. I've had enough of your ignorance cop-splain already. Fuck you, this is a sidewalk. I don't give a fuck. You don't have some unlimited bubble around you. This is a sidewalk, man. Have you lost your fucking mind? I'm on a goddamn sidewalk walking by, and this motherfucker thinks that there's a goddamn bubble around him. Fuck you, I didn't come up to your goddamn car, you piece of shit, ignorant cop-splainer. Fuck you, this is a free country. I'll walk where I goddamn want. Don't you ever fucking tell people in the United States of America where they can fucking stand. How fucking dare you, you goddamn tyrant? This is a fucking street. You don't have some bubble around you, man. Nobody fucking cares. For your safety, fuck your safety. Officer safety is cowardice, man. Get it through your fucking head. You guys are fucking cowards. Especially this fucking dipshit wants to start a protest in the fucking United States of America. Have you ever seen a protest? Have you? This is what fucking happens when you're out here extorting and fucking collecting from the people on an everyday basis. Why don't you solve a fucking crime? Worthless fucking cocksuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you, brother.
Holy shit. It's officers like that that get you guys hurt, man. Bad cops are your worst fucking enemy.
Amen.
I filmed your department about 20 times and not one officer has given me a dirty look, not fucking once, until this piece of shit, fucking ignorant cop-splainer decides to open up his snout and start a protest.
That's brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah. What's your name?
Officer Easley.
And what's his name?
I don't answer questions.
Officer Chen.
Jen?
Chen.
C-H-E-N?
I-N.
C-H-I-N. All right, thank you.
Yeah, he took it on the chin.
You're probably a good officer, you know, but you just arrived on the scene and got this shit, you know? It's unnecessary. Obviously, your department is being trained because, like I said, I've filmed at least 20 stops in this town, and every single officer has not even given me a dirty look, right? Which is exactly how it's supposed to be.
Thanks for coming by, Smoking Officer.
You don't know what he was telling you because you weren't here, and now you're going to want to speak for him. You're stepping in it, and you're digging a bigger hole for yourself, man. He told me to move along like I'm his fucking servant.
on a sidewalk. This is a fucking sidewalk. Anybody can walk here. He thinks just because he stops a car and wants to extort from him and have his victim, not have any witnesses to his victimization of another citizen. Bullshit, man. The people are sick of this shit. Every fucking time you do this, we're going to stop and point our cameras at you. Every fucking time. And then we're going to reduce your whole life to a thumbnail tube and humiliate the shit out of your dumbasses so that it's unbearable for you to get up in the morning and do your fucking job because we're sick of it. Officer Chin, you're a fucking traitor.
That shut him up.
Yeah, there's no way to express disrespect without being disrespectful, right? You can't be polite to a cop and at the same time be disrespectful. So if you're
Yeah.
not willing to use profanity and obscenity, then you're just not willing to do what's necessary, right? Because they have qualified immunity in the courts. If you're trying to set it up for a jury, have fun with that. Block off the next 5 years of your life and become a prisoner to the due processor. But if you're trying to be people, then take their ass to the court of public opinion and just unleash a tirade of profanity upon them. Because that's what really hurts. They can't do that in return without risking their job. They have to follow codes and policies and be polite. There's nothing polite about telling somebody to move along on a sidewalk. That's fucking ridiculous. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
simple.
Go
If,
ahead.
if if they hadn't said a word, chances are you'd walk right by them and went and got your next cup of coffee.
Oh, I would have just filmed it. It never would have been on YouTube.
Right?
It never would have been seen
Never
because
see. I went out. I filmed a couple of cops, and they all named me by name. Hey, how you doing, Squatch? Hey, bud.
that never happens to me because I don't stay in the same place forever.
I'm in a small town.
Yeah, I keep ambling on. Press on, press harder, press now.
I approve. Freedom of movement is a big part of my philosophy. Just because I don't do it, don't mean I don't approve. Did I say that right?
Yeah,
Yes, I think I said that right.
you said that right. Yeah, just because you don't do it doesn't mean you don't agree.
Right.
But once I figure out, sometimes I might be in a town for a day. I might be there for 6 months. You never know. But I don't publish until I leave that town because I think it affects the story.
Right. I can buy that. That makes sense.
And then they will give you shit too. Once you publish, then they'll start giving you shit about it. You're a fucking traitor, man. Take that to the fucking bank.
I tried to check my freaking.
You're a fucking disgrace, man.
He takes a picture of me.
People and try to tell them
Right.
where
So
they can fucking stand. You sorry ass piece of
they
shit.
can do that, but you can't.
Yeah, but
give it up.
Or they're
Obviously,
making a
your
database of
department
y'all.
has been trained because you're the only fucking idiot here that's fucking done this. Out of 20 goddamn videos, only one of you stupid motherfuckers wants to get an attitude in front of the camera, man. Only fucking you.
Yeah, it does that every time I try to do that. When I move from one screen to the other, my computer is not enjoying this, but it's still functional. So we're gonna go with it.
it's still functional. Yeah. So we're just gonna keep on playing this through if your computer will be friendly.
That's weird. I go to a different window, pop back, it runs fine. I don't understand.
Because on Press Harder, I stopped this video right after this ended, and they left. But it actually continued on, and there's a really good conversation after this.
Yeah,
So
very
it's really
beginning of
just
the video.
it's really just a big presser right up the donut hole of all the trolls that say that protests don't lead to conversations. They fucking do. Okay, sometimes you just got to break down somebody's walls, and just because that guy got it hard that night doesn't mean that it won't lead to a conversation with another officer. Right,
True,
one door closes and another one opens.
because we're not going to be able to
That's
accomplish
harder now.
this without their help.
What they're doing in
Eventually,
there.
they have to do it from the inside
There's another
themselves. They
officer
have
here,
to abide
too.
by the law themselves.
Yeah, they have to abide by the law or get the fuck out. You know, actually go and do something that's worth a damn. Stop trying to extort and harass.
Metal.
Solve some crimes. So see, they go up into this parking lot, and I thought they were going to have a butt patting session, and there's another cop here who turned out to be
And this is
not.
like
This sergeant?
just across the street, right?
It's in the parking lot right behind where I was standing.
No?
Right.
Is there a sergeant around? Have I filmed you before? Have I filmed you before?
Yeah, we were talking at Starbucks the other day, remember?
Yeah, that's right. You're the guy that always tries to talk. Come talk to me right now, man.
Sure.
You're not busy, are you?
No, you want to talk over here?
Yeah, pull in his face. Man.
Well, what would he be
Yeah,
busy doing? Sitting
Yeah,
in a
what
park-
would he be? What would he be busy doing? Exactly.
doing big work?
Yeah, this guy had one night I was at Starbucks and it was raining, and he came up and he's like, "Are you just using the internet?" And I was like, "I don't answer questions," because I couldn't film because it was raining, and I said, "I don't answer questions," and he's like, "Okay," and he drove off, and I was like, "Damn, that was a good cop." Uh, but normally I would have talked to him, but it was raining, right, and so I couldn't film. But then I saw him here, and so this is the bonus never before seen footage.
I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
no idea what this is about. This is so weird to me.
For everybody that misses
How
the
you doing today,
conversation.
man? What's your name?
Ryan McGee.
McGee. Nice to meet
Yes,
you,
sir.
man.
Nice to
Yeah,
meet
yeah.
you. How are you?
Every time you tried to talk to me, it's been raining.
It has.
I love conversations. You can
Yeah.
always talk to me,
Yeah.
but it's hard for me to film in the rain.
That's fine. I
But
appreciate
the first night you asked me a question, and I said I don't answer questions. That
Yes.
doesn't mean I don't have conversations.
That's fair.
I love to have conversations,
Yeah.
but the people, they have questions,
Sure.
right? If I commit a crime, then I would expect you to be asking me questions.
Sure. I just.
Right?
Every time I touch that window over there, it
I
does
gotcha.
that.
We ask questions.
Stop touching that window.
Right? I
Sometimes
know,
because we're
but
investigating something.
it's
Yeah,
the
exactly.
chat. They're supposed to be involved.
Stop it.
Oh, no.
A lot of people, a lot of peeps say never to talk to cops, right? And I say, no, don't answer questions, but how are you going to find out what's going on in their heads, if you never talk to them, right?
We're all
Like-
people. We got to figure out how each other work, right?
Well, no, you're a servant of the people.
Well, I'm still a people when I'm not in uniform.
Hell no, you're under oath 24 hours a day, man.
Well, yeah, there's that.
There's that.
There's
You can
that.
be fired anytime for something you say.
But before
So
I ever
clearly you
wore
don't
this
have free
uniform,
speech.
I was always trying to be a service to people anyway.
Well,
I always
that's
kept stuff
great.
in my vehicle so I could stop and help people that might have been broke down or something like that. So it's always been something that's been a part of who I am. Putting on this uniform just allows me to do that. It's part of my job.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
That's
I
a
would
great
love to
philosophy.
talk about the people and servants of the people more, but I've filmed you guys about 20 times. And the reason I asked you if you were a sergeant is because in all 20 times, right, not one officer has even given me a dirty look, which is how it's supposed to be, right? I walk up, and I'm filming, and I'm used to about 1 out of 3 officers in towns around this country trying to give unlawful orders and everything.
Sure.
A lot of them are, they
Sorry, I forgot.
don't like it, right? And they make it clear by their facial expressions or their body language or whatever.
Take your hands off of the computer and walk away slowly.
I've
Sasquatch.
noticed you guys have had some training at some, because you're not learning this in the academy. Hey, don't have an attitude with photographers or the people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know you guys have been through it, right?
When you're in a city this size, we understand and recognize that there's people that are going to want to either film us for their own. It could be the what do you call it? I'm blanking on the name.
Hello, Nicole.
Audit the police sort of thing.
Well, some audit, some cop watch, I press.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, and there's a difference. There's all sorts of reasons. We're
able to be filmed just like anybody else out in public.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, just now, okay, there was a traffic stop right there on this street, right there past the driveway.
You see his face fold up?
Yes, sir.
And I was on the sidewalk.
Yep.
And as I approach with my camera, Officer Chin says, "Move along now, move along now." Yeah. Right, as if I work for him, on a free sidewalk.
Sure.
Right, and then immediately calls for backup, and then sends in another officer that is scared shitless because he just got a call from an officer.
I didn't touch nothing. I swear to God, I didn't touch anything that time.
That's
now I gotta touch something. Oh, I know what it was.
That's what everybody says, Sasquatch. I didn't touch it.
He's probably thinking that you guys.
I had to touch it that time. I had to fix your mic.
Sasquatch is going to put the links to these in the description. So, you can watch it anytime without the buffering later. They're unlisted on Press Harder, but they're just not.
I don't understand shit.
Can I explain to you why we would call for backup?
Sure.
So we understand and, like I said, appreciate that you want to film whatever. We also don't know your full intention.
All right, there are no problems happening. This is a perfectly ordinary stream, and there are no buffering taking place.
There isn't. These are planned and timed breaks for commentary.
For our conversational pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah. He says he doesn't know the intent, and clearly he's talking out of his ass already.
Distraction to us, and that could cause us to get hit by traffic while we're trying to conduct our traffic stop. So when we call for another unit, it's really just to make sure that you're not doing anything that we also need to keep an eye on. So it's nothing that we're afraid of you or anything like that. It's
obviously
just,
you
our
are.
Focus was on the traffic stop. Now we have to divide our attention between the traffic stop and making sure that you're not trying to interfere with that. And then we can send them safely on their way, and then maybe have a conversation if that's what you're wanting to do, or we can all be about our days.
Well,
so really
Houston versus Hill, a Supreme Court case, says that I can come up with the intention of distracting you with dividing your attention, and it's not a crime. Right? I can do somersaults, I can do jumping jacks.
You can't add time to our investigation.
No, only the officer can choose to do that.
Interfere with our investigation.
With an action. Interference is an action.
Right.
Right. If I got.
I do apologize.
Physically, and was like, "Oh, you can't," or on your evidence, or took your pen from you while you're trying to write a ticket.
We can't intentionally delay it.
This thing is just having complete fits, man. Maybe it's up stack I have it in.
Traffic stop in order to wait for a canine to show up for that traffic stop, right?
Theoretically, I see it happen. You have a reasonable amount of time to accomplish the mission. Say about 20 minutes, but it's not an exact time.
Right. And body cams really kind of lock all that time. So we have the in-car camera, our body cameras running.
Right.
So
okay. It'll do it a few more times. It should clear up after that.
While we're doing our traffic stop, and then all of a sudden we're having to deal with the outside element, which could be somebody filming, asking us questions, getting in our way, trying to get into the middle of the traffic stop.
Well, I didn't ask anything. I just walked up and was filming, and then he told me to move along. Right. And I'm quietly, and I don't have to be quiet. I can throw a huge protest.
One, maybe two more times. And I had a window overhanging my my laptop screen. I got two monitors, and they really don't like mixing. As long as I got them well defined away from each other, it's not a problem. It gets all kinds of weird when I get one overhung just a little bit and I can't tell. It does this kind of stuff. And it's been sitting there for like a couple hours now. So
right, that is very distracting. Right? And start waving in everybody else, and you get a mob.
Not happy with this. Let's start from the beginning to beginning. Now do right. You have no excuse. You have been freshly freshened.
There was a traffic stop
That is
right
so
there
weird.
on this
It's
street,
like the other
right there
windows is what's
past the
holding it
driveway,
open.
but it was on the street.
Yes, sir.
And I was on the sidewalk.
Yep.
And as I approach with my camera, Officer Chin says, "Move along now, move along now."
Yeah.
Right, as if I work for him, you know, on a free sidewalk.
Sure.
Right, and then immediately calls for backup,
Yeah.
and then sends in another officer that is scared shitless because he just got a call from an officer. Right, and in this day and age, you know,
But do
he's
you
probably
understand-
thinking that you guys.
Do you
No, I don't
why we would
understand
call?
shit.
Can I explain to you why we would call for backup?
Sure.
So we understand, and like I said, appreciate that you want to film whatever. We also don't know your full intention, whether it's to be a nuisance or cause a distraction to us, and that could cause us to get hit by traffic.
I didn't touch nothing.
I think standing in the street could cause him to get hit by traffic.
You're not wrong there.
Yeah.
I've always had an issue with the whole, I'm going to do this, but you can't do it.
Right.
I got a badge, so I'm going to do this. Like we have this one cop here in town. I don't think he's here anymore, or at least he doesn't do this anymore. But we have a turning lane in front of our DOT. There is nowhere really to turn except into the DOT. And so why it has its own turning lane is a bit of a mystery to me, but okay, fine. It's got its own turning lane. The cops at night would park their cruiser in the turning lane with their lights on, just sitting there at a red light. And it's one thing when you're riding along, you're coming into town and you see those lights up there and the lights are red and they're sitting at the red light. And then it goes green and you're still approaching the red light and it stays there until it turns red again. Suddenly it's weird and you start driving different. You can't help it. You notice something strange and you're like, whoa, and you slow down and you almost stop and you realize it's a cop and it's like, what the hell he's doing? And so you creep through the intersection and they get to choose to pull you over or not based on driving erratically.
Yeah.
They caused it.
They caused it. Absolutely. Those lights are distracting. They have been known to cause seizures. They peeps have a habit of driving right towards them, right, and just they cause accidents. They don't prevent them, and I think they should stop using those lights. I mean, they're really just for an emergency, you know, but instead they're using them for every little thing,
Yeah.
just to look cool and shit.
They're using them for but yeah, exactly, for flex.
Yeah. John Denicola. Yeah, good to see you. Good day. From New Zealand.
I see him
Yeah.
everywhere, man. He's all over the place. He's everywhere I want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He's big in the community for sure. He watches a lot of channels. Yeah,
All right. I'm
absolutely.
pretty sure this one picks up at this is the whole thing, and then this is the abbreviated version, right?
No, there's two parts.
Okay.
It continues on in another video. I don't know if we're going to get to it because this keeps buffering. But, you know, whatever we don't get to, he'll drop the links in the description. And you guys can check it out there. But, you know, but this...
Sorry. I wasn't
No, go
expecting
ahead. Let it
work.
play. If it's going to play, let it play.
It's really just to make sure that you're not doing anything that we also need to keep an eye on. So it's nothing that, you know, we're afraid of you or anything like that. It's just our focus was on this traffic stop. Now we have to divide our attention between.
So he says it's nothing, but see, like I said, I had already filmed about 20 times in this town. They clearly have some indication of my intent, right? That I'm not there to cause harm. You know, don't kid yourself that they haven't talked about it, right? They have talked about it. Okay, they've had briefings about it. When somebody is filming their stops, they go back and they talk about it, right? And they're like, you know, just know that there's somebody. But he didn't do anything. He just stood there and filmed. Didn't cause any problems or whatever. But that one guy probably doesn't pay attention in the briefing room. You know, he's got it all figured out and shit. He's Billy Badass, Officer Chin, right? And
Apparently,
he's
we dropped off the YouTube there for a second for some reason.
dropped off the YouTube.
For just a second, I don't know if it was connection or what, but Eddie Gannon saying that they lost us in Ireland for a minute.
In Ireland? Holy cow, mania.
Yeah, I try to
Eddie
spread
Gannon.
my juices as wild as possible.
Yeah. Speaking of hairy
Got
nuts,
Harry Nuts in the chat. It's good to see him.
yeah.
He's one of my favorite YouTubers. You never know what you're going to get when he goes live. It's not cop watching per se, but there might be cops involved. It's not a lifestyle vlog per se, but lifestyle's definitely involved. It's a good channel. I like it. He has more fun than anybody else I know of on YouTube.
More fun. Yeah. Princess OPD.
Love her.
Yeah.
Enough function or not.
She keeps changing her name though.
Traffic stop and making sure that you're not trying to interfere with that, and then we can send them safely on their way, and then maybe have a conversation if that's what you're wanting to do, or we can all be about our days.
Well,
so really
Houston versus Hill, a
Yes,
Supreme Court case, says that I can come up with the intention of distracting you.
All right, we've already covered this tidbit. My bad.
Tree right there.
On the sidewalk.
That is so weird.
Obviously,
yeah,
we can't do anything. We can ask you to move along.
Yes, but it
so
looks
you're not
bad.
a distraction.
It looks
But
bad because you guys have a
don't
gun
to
and a
oblige
badge.
that,
You're
right?
intimidating, right?
Huh?
And most everybody, they don't know that.
Right.
Right? They grow up their whole life being taught that we're supposed to listen to you. And when you say, can you move along now? Right? It doesn't sound like a friendly request.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can you give me a light? Like somebody on the street asking that, right?
Yep.
It doesn't sound intimidating because they're not holding a gun and a badge and like there's no possibility of getting arrested over it, right?
Right.
But he actually did threaten me with arrest, right?
Yeah.
Officer Chin.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And then he calls in backup, and the backup saying it's for officer safety, right?
Yeah.
Well, officer safety is cowardice, man. Our safety, okay, that's what matters.
Nope, not me. Okay.
Our safety is what matters. We didn't hire you to protect yourself.
During the traffic stop that we initiated, our safety and that driver's safety is number one.
To you, but to the citizens, if your safety is number one,
like I said before, you're an outside distraction. That now our attention's divided, and if I'm getting frustrated by you trying to interfere, and all of a sudden I turn and get struck by a car because of that distraction,
then you have ADD.
Then that's
why you have attention deficit disorder, and you need a psych evaluation. That's not my fault. Again, your mental stability is not my fault.
Right.
You need psychological evaluation.
Call for the other officer so that we don't have to keep any.
So we get another officer that needs a psych eval too, and now we have two psych patients on the scene and only one stable people on there with a camera. You see,
I wouldn't say anybody needs a psych evaluation.
I would if you have attention deficit disorder and you can't focus on your stop because somebody is there with a camera on a public sidewalk.
Yeah.
Right. Then I would say you have attention deficit disorder.
But like I said,
right?
I don't know beyond videotape if you have another objective beyond that. And I hope that all it is you want to just have a conversation or just videotape.
Well,
that's not my problem.
My reason for doing it is because that's what the people do. They press.
Yeah.
Right. And they want to know what their government servants are doing. And it's a right to do that. Right.
Yeah,
you volunteered to be a servant of the people.
Yes,
right. Nobody made you do it. You're not a slave. Right.
Nope.
You get paid for it and you volunteered.
Yep.
Right. But when you did that, you gave up your rights.
We gave up a lot of rights to do this.
All your rights. You can't just give up some of your rights. Okay, it's all or none.
I still have a right to remain silent under.
That's a privilege.
I still have.
It's not even called a right.
Second Amendment right when I go home. I have First Amendment right.
You have a privilege.
But when I'm on this job, I have a duty to do certain things, to say certain things,
he said duty,
and divulge certain information because that's my job and that's what I signed up to do.
First of all, okay, you said the right to remain silent.
Yes.
Okay, that is not a right. It's a privilege. And as you notice, when you give a warning, a Miranda warning,
Yes, sir.
it's a warning.
It is.
Okay, it's not a right. It's a privilege, right? The people have a First Amendment right to not make speech.
Mm-hmm.
They have a right to make speech and to not make speech.
Yes.
There would not need to be a Fifth Amendment privilege to remain silent if that was for people. That's for persons. Okay, persons have a Fifth Amendment privilege to remain silent.
Okay.
People have a First Amendment right. Now, the Fifth Amendment privilege is clearly a privilege because it is only if you may incriminate yourself, right? So there are times when you don't have a Fifth Amendment privilege to remain silent as a person,
Right.
such as if you're under arrest, you're required to give your name, address, and date of birth.
Right, identifying information.
Right, so clearly you don't have a privilege to remain silent in that instance. But the people always have a First Amendment right not to make speech.
Right.
You see the difference? You're not one of the people, right? Your name is written on your shirt because we require you to.
Yes, sir.
Right, so it's almost like you're under arrest.
I don't view it as that.
Well, I don't have to give, a person doesn't have to give their name unless they're under arrest, but you are required to give your name anytime somebody asks.
Yes, sir.
Per policy.
Yeah.
Right? Because
I don't have any problem doing that.
Well, what I'm getting at is that you agreed to do it, right? You agreed to follow rules in exchange for money.
And so did everyone else in your
You
costume.
get a paycheck. That's all we agreed to do, was to give you a paycheck.
Yeah.
You might have other reasons
Yeah.
for being an officer, but those reasons are not why you got hired. Okay, you were provided money in exchange for protection and service. Is what the police department, claims to be doing. Right? That's what the citizens want, is protection and service, and they were willing to trade their taxpayer dollars for that.
Yes, sir.
Right? They don't have to. Now, your safety, okay. Well, I don't want anybody to get hurt. Right? If police officers aren't dying, you're not doing anything. You're really not. If your boots aren't getting dirty, you're not doing anything.
Part of the job
right?
is
To say it's a dangerous job, it has to actually be a dangerous job, which means that many of you have to get hurt and injured and die, right? In order for it to be a dangerous job. I mean, in reality, it's not even in the top 15 most dangerous jobs in the United States, right? Being a fisherman is more dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay. Seriously, right?
Yeah.
Because despite the rhetoric, it's not very often that a police officer gets killed, right? It happens. It happens. Most of the time, it's on the way to a scene and they're driving too fast and get in an accident.
A lot of accident, yes.
Or they have a heart
It's
attack.
officer's fault.
Or they have a heart attack on the way or returning from a scene, right? Suicide is a high factor, right? But they get a lot of coverage when somebody just walks up and shoots an officer, which is terrible. It happens, a handful of times.
The media distorts it.
Of course, it gets a lot of attention. It's very rare with 1 million police officers, right? The idea of somebody just walking up to you and shooting you for no reason is absurd, right?
Yeah.
Usually there's a motive for every crime.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you deal with crime, you would know. There's always a motive.
Yes, sir.
Right? There's a reason. And while there's serial killers and we don't know why they picked that person, there was a reason in their mind. Sure, there's mass shootings or whatever, but still there's a reason for it, even if we don't know what it is.
Right.
Right? There's still a motive.
The reason is there's stressors that led up to that, right?
Well, you could say it, but we don't know.
It's up to that person.
Right. But usually, I'd say, in my experience, I've learned that the most dangerous time for an officer is when they're arresting somebody or putting their hands on them.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's your fight or flight.
They're arresting is making a decision as well. Do I want to have this be part of my life right now?
Exactly. Right. And that's who's going to leave.
Yeah.
But when somebody shows up with a camera, that should be like, man, thank God the people are watching out for not just, the citizen in the car, but also for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? It's a whole different perspective and I can get everything. Whereas your body cam can only get what's in front of you. It's really close up.
And once
if you get in a fight, you're all moving around. Well, like I said, I've been filming but a lot of times and not had any problem, right?
Yeah.
The idea that you have to get to know me in order for me to exercise my rights is absurd.
Well, until we're comfortable with you. If I don't know you and I see you standing there, I'm going to be curious as to why.
Curious?
Right. And
that's fine.
I'm allowed to be curious.
You're
it's
allowed.
Part of my job to be curious,
I
right?
want you to come up and talk to me like you have.
And you don't have to answer questions if you don't want to, but if I see it as a pattern that you're just coming up and making videos and that's the only thing you're doing, then I don't have to worry about calling for backup anymore because, he's just going to videotape me. And if something goes sideways, I know he's probably going to have my back because he's got that video that shows me doing a good job, right?
I haven't really seen much of that. Most of it is just harassing and collecting.
Okay.
Right. I haven't seen any solving crimes. If I saw you solve a crime with a human victim as opposed to the state of Florida being the victim, then not only me but the citizens would love you too. There would be no calls to defund the police if you were solving crimes.
Right.
Right. With human victims, rapes, robberies, murders, thefts.
We're not talking car crimes.
Well, no, they're not solved through the traffic stop. You just catch them with a warrant.
Right.
That's not solving it through a traffic stop. No, that's cops playing,
There's all sorts of information you gain through a traffic stop.
Oh, if somebody admits something through interrogation because you don't know how to...
in the vehicle, somebody else that might be in the vehicle, it depends on what you're looking for.
You don't have any specific examples to back this claim up that you've ever solved a crime with a traffic stop.
Me personally, no, I've never.
You've never solved a crime?
Have I ever solved a crime? Yes, but not through a traffic stop.
With a human victim?
Yes.
Thanks to the murder?
Yes.
Now, think back to that murder. That's a real crime. I want those solved, right?
Yes.
Did you solve it through an actual investigation, or was your investigation actually an interrogation and questioning of all the citizens that gave you the information to solve the crime?
So it depends on how you differentiate an investigation and interrogation.
Well, like CSI, a CSI team, I would call that a true investigation.
My original call came as the female victim, which was the suspect's wife.
No. Son of Sam was apprehended due to a traffic ticket. He was caught because he was a murderer. He was apprehended during just like who was the guy in Georgia that got pulled over for at a Joe Blow roadblock. They had been roadblocking Atlanta for weeks trying to catch somebody out. They stopped this guy 24 times. He got out, talked to him, did everything, put him back in the car and drove off. One time when he did this, he had a body in the trunk. I cannot remember the man's name. It's like he's in one of the Atlanta penitentiaries right now to this day, sitting on death row. And he drove through half dozen one of which, no joke, with a dead body that he had just put in the trunk like around the corner from the roadblock. He pulled out, drove straight into the roadblock, talked to the cops with blood on his sleeves, and just knew he was fixing to get wrapped up. But they let him go because he seemed normal to them. That's not solving a crime. If you stop somebody who happens to have a warrant, depending on why you stop them, that warrant may or may not matter.
Right. But even if they catch somebody, that doesn't justify the millions of traffic stops that they do across this country every day. There's a cost to freedom, and it's hard to solve crimes, but
yeah, agreed. I'm going to finish this video and I'm going to do a 2-minute intermission and we'll finish the next video right behind it.
All right, if we can.
Sound good to you?
Sure.
All right. Let's finish this one up. We'll
Actually, I believe his girlfriend. It's been a couple years. He called and said that she got beat up outside, and then she came inside and passed out. So it was actually a medical call, and we were there because of the assault that had happened outside. And through my investigation or interrogation of him, asking him what happened, getting together the timeline, figuring out when this all happened, I actually discovered that, and also by talking to neighbors who saw little snippets of what had actually happened, right? Ended up discovering that him and his girlfriend had gotten into a fight the night prior. He'd actually strangled her to death outside, broke her neck, dragged her back inside, and laid there with her the entire day while his kids were upstairs until he decided at about 7 o'clock the next night to call and say she was beat up outside. She came inside and passed out.
But he called the next day. Did he just say that?
In Akron, Ohio.
Yeah.
He called them the next. So he ain't solved shit.
Right. He didn't solve shit. But in his mind, he solved a murder.
He solved a crime.
Yeah.
Because we showed up and took his statement. Paperwork. Yet again, folks. Paperwork.
Yeah. No
You need
sleuthing.
paperwork done, call a cop.
No sleuthing going on. No figuring it out. No connecting the dots on their own. Right? It's just happening to be in the right place at the right time. Somebody calling and basically giving up the information, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, this guy called and reported a death.
Wow.
Right?
Oh, and it just so happens the guy who called was the guy who killed her. That makes
Yeah.
sense. That's generally how it works, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
great
I
job.
saw someone. I can pretty much bet you I'll be calling somebody to tell them about it real soon. Somebody's got to do the paperwork.
Somebody's got to do the paperwork.
I'm not going to do it unjustified. You know, that type of activity requires thresholds to be crossed. Like, for instance, mine.
Right.
Like, I don't even care about the rest of the thresholds that people have to reach in order to reach a violent conclusion. None of those matter. They're all outside. The only threshold that's critical to me is my threshold, my door. As long as you're doing it outside, I'll leave you alone. I'm not going to go shooting through windows or nothing like that. None of that silliness. That is dangerous and inappropriate. But if you come into my house forcefully, you will not make it far. Ain't nothing else for it. Am I wrong? I mean, is that a wrong opinion? Should I just retreat from my house?
Persons have the privilege to defend their property, but people have to be peaceable 100% of the time. They would never try and protect a house. I mean,
I'm not worried about
no
the house.
no thing is worth fighting for.
It's not the
They
house
wouldn't even
that
build those walls in the first place, and try and hide behind them.
I'm not protecting the house. That's not it. I am protecting my family and my loved ones. The house is merely an implement in that, and it is a legal definition utilized by the state that they will use to charge me. And so there are certain thresholds that must be crossed before violent action can be justified by law.
Yeah, like I said, it's legal for a person to do that, but it's not morally justified for people to do it. And people just have the moral high ground. They don't give a shit about all the reasons that are used in law. Right? No amount of reasons can justify me breaching the peace, and I won't do it under any circumstances. Right? If Jesus wouldn't do it, neither would I.
I might. I'm not perfect. I don't make no claims to perfection. I'm just a person, and I will defend my family to my dying breath. That's me. I'm not trying to say it's right or wrong or nothing. That's just what you're getting. I love my family dearly more than anything else I have in my life, and I will sacrifice absolutely everything for them. That's the hill I will die on. Absolutely.
I hear you.
All right, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to get this done, assuming I can click the right button and it doesn't get stupid again.
2.5, 3 years ago now.
Okay, man, that's really sounding familiar because there was a case recently posted about somebody killing their wife.
Oh, bother. I got to stopping it. Which one is it this time? It's that one.
And sleeping with her for a couple of days or something before it got found out or something like that. That's not uncommon, right?
It's very strange. I mean, it's the
I don't get it.
remorse.
That was in Akron, Ohio.
Yeah, I obviously don't understand what's going through their head that would put them in that position, but it happens more often than we'd like to think.
Man, well, I'm glad that was solved, but like you pointed out, the citizens told you what happened.
Right, he called in, and we
an
investigation.
You didn't figure it out on your own, like getting a CSI team and saying no, she was actually strangled to death.
Well,
you see what I'm saying? Like
our best data comes from talking to people.
Talking to people or citizens.
Yes.
Right? They're not the same.
Right.
Okay. People have rights and citizens have privileges.
Okay.
Right? And like you have privileges, right? You get paid, you have a car, you have a house, so a girlfriend, maybe a boyfriend. I don't care. I don't judge, right? I'm just, being inclusive, right? I'm not.
Oh, 2.3 million. Good Lord.
Guessing, right?
Sure.
And you know, those are all privileges, right?
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with privileges. But if you want them, you cannot exercise your rights. If you do, your privileges will come under attack.
Yeah.
Every time.
Okay.
Right. And like if you went out and protested against the police,
Probably would keep my job.
you probably wouldn't keep your job,
Yeah.
right? And so maybe you could go get another job, but that's just another privilege.
Yeah.
And at some point, you're gonna have.
I'm baffled.
Have to keep your mouth shut on that too, right? Until it builds up.
See, that is so weird to me.
Up and builds up, and then
I
you
touch
finally snap
a
and you say
different
something
window
and you
and
get fired.
it works. I get off of that window and it stops working. It's weird.
And you go get another job, right?
Yeah, no.
So
that
generally,
was the chat window for some reason.
Yeah.
That's
If you
so
don't support the
strange.
business or you bash the business behind,
or you make them look bad,
even off time,
or you don't do what they tell you, or you
Right.
don't show up on time, or you
Right.
don't wear your uniform and have
right
it
to
right.
work.
Sure.
They don't want you to work.
If you want rights, like Kim Davis,
Right.
ever heard of her?
I know the name. I'm not sure who it is.
Kim Davis. What?
Did it just go to the next video? Let me double check that.
Yeah, go to the next video. It picks up.
Trigger that. I'm gonna stop it. Do this. Fix your mic.
Hopefully, the next video will play. There's a
The less
delivery
it's
truck
running,
here.
the easier it should go. But I'm gonna drop an intermission right now. We got 2 minutes. If you want some more coffee or whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'll be right
I've got
back.
3 cups of coffee in front of me. The
Oh, you're
world will
good.
not let me go without coffee.
Well, I got a bathroom about 20 foot from me. I'm gonna go jump in.
Oh, go
We'll be
ahead.
right back.
All right, I'll read some chats while you're away.
Awesome, brother. Probably not gonna be able to hear any of it.
Is there a lot of background noise?
Yeah, let's go. I ain't the first with the curse, with the thirst that I wanna be better, not worse, man, it hurts. I'm on this earth with my words, and I put them all together, insert, cause I wanna have worth. Working hella hard till they put me in the dirt. Gonna go far, man, listen to my words. Gonna be a star, man, life's like a blur. When you're working this hard till you get what you deserve. Yeah, I ain't taking a backseat, I'm passing anybody else who is rapping. I'm nasty, ain't nobody able to catch me. They gasping, they cannot compare, they can't match me. I'm at half speed. I got your girl and she laughing and dancing, hanging on my butt. She asking to crash with me, smash with me. She savage, she wants cash money, and she knows that I live lavishly. I wanna live, I'm cold inside. Give all I have just to feel alive. I fight to live, I fight to strive. One day I'll have what I want. I want the whole world in the palm of my hand. I got a plan, I'm the man. Now I'm teaching the game, a veteran, better than anybody else who tests me. I'm ready, looking in my hand and it's steady. I'm trending, ascending and blending, lyrical bending. Now I'm spreading and getting my name out now. Yeah, they're hearing me laugh. All the crowds repping the sound. I'm hitting the ground, running up and coming. Ain't nothing, yeah, rookie of the year. I'ma keep it 100, cold-blooded, no budget. From nothing to something, I ain't bluffing. I got a full hand and a full plan. I ain't gonna stop till I'm at the top, man. Every single drop got me feeling awesome. I'm about to pop, started from the bottom, yeah. I wanna live, I'm cold inside. Give all I have.
Thank you. Desperately needed that, I did. You're still muted, brother.
Yeah, that was a quick break. Are you getting a lot of background noise from me?
Only when a vehicle gets especially close or when your mic does that weird glitch out thing, but I've been pretty on top of fixing it when it happens. So
No, I mean right now, because there's a truck here. Oh, okay, good.
I don't hear nothing.
Oh, cool. There's a delivery truck here, so I thought it was pretty loud. But that's why I was muting myself.
Pretty good.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna try to let this one roll right through, but I don't know if it will. So when it glitches up, I'll be fiddling with it.
All right. Well, we're about to talk about Kim Davis here, and there's another video on Press Harder. It's actually the first video I posted on that channel that talks about Kim Davis, but we're going to talk about it here with this officer whenever you play it. Hopefully, it won't buffer.
I'm hoping, man. I don't know. You saw everything functioning, no problem before the show, right?
Yeah,
This happens. Something like this happens every show.
every show.
Some part of it'll glitch out through it, and then it just mutates through my computer once it triggers. I blame the antivirus software.
And Putin.
Davis was a clerk for the DMV.
Every time, huh? Oh wow, that thing just flatlined everything. Even my chat went away.
Or the driver's license department in Kentucky.
That wasn't issuing.
Yeah, she wouldn't issue marriage.
Give that a second. Percolate out. There's a lot here that has to do with like order of operations stuff, and if I get something wrong, it overtaxes the processor, and then things get weird. And it doesn't matter where I source the videos from if the computer is what's glitching up. Right now, it says I'm using 22% of my processor. That's the most I've ever used on the computer using OBS, but it doesn't read everything else that's running. It just reads what OBS is doing. Now, why it can run all of my weird little triggers over here, no problem, and has a problem with the basic video is anybody.
Marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Yeah. She thought she had a First Amendment right to religion.
No.
Right?
Not in a state job.
Not in a job, right?
Not in a state job, no.
If she would have quit and said, I can no longer do this job because of my religious convictions, that would be fine. But because of what she did, she ended up in jail.
In the position of the state to say, the state is offended by this because I worked for the state.
So you see, you can't have both rights and privileges.
Yeah.
Right? And she ended up in jail because of it. She lost her qualified immunity. And if the feds want to step in and charge her with a federal felony of deprivation of rights, that could carry a 20-year prison sentence.
Yeah.
Right? It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, you might have your beliefs, but if they conflict with the Constitution has to win out.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's why, it's clear that police officers don't have rights.
I try to have a libertarian mindset. We're not messing with each other.
I don't know what a libertarian mindset is. I don't know what that means.
Well, my idea of a libertarian mindset is my daily life should not interfere with your daily life. And we should all be able to get along in that manner.
Your job.
Well, you mean like if you weren't a police officer?
In general.
Just like citizens on the street?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I agree, right? But have a job to do that they paid you to do.
I don't think the state should be offended as often as the state is.
The state's always offended. They need a box of Kleenex, man, to wipe their tears. Like, oh, their license plate was dirty. Oh, they didn't use a signal. Oh, they didn't walk in a crosswalk. It's endless.
The state's always the big.
Whereas the real crimes are getting, missed.
But the person that's doing one of those minor infractions that's an offense to the state, and they happen to match the description of somebody that you'd like to talk to, or you may have seen a video of doing something, now you have a reason to stop and talk to that person, right?
No.
You do.
You have a lawful reason.
I'm not saying it's not legal.
It's not correct, but it is lawful.
I'm not saying it's not legal to do this. There are laws that have been written, right? And persons have to follow those laws.
That's how I generally try to use those petty laws that are against the state, is to create that contact where I think this person might have been involved in something else. Now I have a legal reason to create a contact with them where they need to at least give me their name, date of birth, and identifying information. And if they're willing to talk to me on that, that's fantastic too. But at least I can use that petty law to potentially uncover what could have been another reported crime.
But it's a petty law.
Well, all right, since we're talking about a petty law, let's talk about jaywalking. Do you think that it's jaywalking to walk across the street right here?
Walking directly across the street, no. Walking in diagonal.
Diagonal is a no-go.
That's
right.
Right.
But why is it not jaywalking here?
Do you know the law? Got him.
No, I actually don't know how the law is written.
Well, you have to be between two adjacent stoplights that are in working order.
Okay.
And that, by adjacent, that means there's no intersections in between.
Okay.
So every one of these driveways is an intersection.
Okay.
Right. So somebody can turn left in a car. They can drive straight across too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If there's, a straight across intersection, they could drive straight across. There's lots of intersections in between that light and this light.
Okay.
But also the street lights have to be in working order.
Okay. Yeah.
Right. But I'm glad that's not Jay. But diagonally, like from here all the way to there or something, not some little tiny diagonal.
Right.
Right.
Especially on a road this busy.
But actually, the diagonal thing is meant for in the center. Like if you're at that corner and you walk from this corner to the kitty corner diagonal one, not really so much like in here. Here, you're just not supposed to block traffic.
Yeah.
If you block traffic, that would be jaywalking.
I mean, if you're walking diagonal across the intersection 2:00 in the morning, there's nobody around.
Yeah, there's nobody around.
Guy to stop you from
doing
that. If you're walking diagonal at 2:00 in the afternoon when there's 10,000 cars going by per hour, I'm probably going to stop you because you're probably going to get hit.
Well,
and that would be
if you're blocking traffic, if somebody has to stop for you, right, that didn't want to stop, you know what I mean, then you've obstructed traffic.
Yeah.
But if you've gotten across safely and nobody even had to slow down or anything, then you haven't.
You got it.
Right. But you're not the officer that we're worried about.
Well, I'm glad.
Right. It's the worst enemy of good cops is bad cops.
Absolutely.
Right. And Officer
Their
Chin,
voice is a lot louder
he's a
because
bad
it's all
cop.
over the media.
He's a bad cop, man.
Okay.
Officer Chin.
You don't like him?
Well, I don't know him, but I know that he just tried to give unlawful orders to one of the people on a sidewalk, man, and that's just ridiculous. I own that sidewalk.
Is it an unlawful order to ask you to move along?
It is when you tell them to, or that they'll be arrested.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
unlawful.
it really is.
Okay.
If
I obviously wasn't there for the interaction, right? So I don't know what.
Go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't trying to stop the video, but hell yeah, it's an unlawful order to tell somebody to move along on the sidewalk. What a stupid ass question.
It's pretty dumb.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
cops plane.
It's just a directive, a useless directive. I mean, had he left you alone, you would have walked on by, turned around and filmed for a little while, gotten bored, and moved on whenever it was done.
Right, but this officer is nice and polite and willing to have a conversation, but don't kid yourself. He is constantly reverting to cops plane and blind defense of his other officers. It's just instinctual in him, trained from his gang initiation,
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what a stupid ass question. Of course it's unlawful. Unlawful means there's no law backing it up. It's not illegal for him to say move along, but it's not lawful because there's no law requiring me to move along. There's no law preventing me from being there. Right? If like there was police tape, there's a law that says I can't cross the police tape. Right? And if I cross the police tape, then he could say, get back on the other side, and that would be a lawful order, right? But it's not lawful; it's just legal. Like they can say whatever the hell they want. That's legal, but it doesn't make it a lawful order. It's legal.
It
for
also don't make it moral or right.
Yeah, but it's legal for him to say dance like a chicken. It's not lawful. There's no law that says I have to do it. It's not disobeying a lawful order unless there's a law that's backing up his order.
Exactly.
So,
all right.
Yeah. Hopefully we didn't make it.
How? Sometimes when I touch the window, it goes off. This computer is losing its cheese and grits. It's all sliding off the cracker, man. Oh Lord.
Right, but I mean, why would you even ask them to?
Yeah.
If it's not in order, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Right, you're here to enforce laws, not to, make suggestions, right? Like you don't go up to them and be like, see them right there?
Yeah.
You wouldn't go up to them and be like, hey, don't jaywalk, or don't fall in any donut holes, don't eat any yellow snow.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't just go give warnings for no reason.
Right.
Right?
Look,
There'd have to be a reason.
There's no lights on those bikes.
Right. Well, a bike is a privilege to ride that bike, right? Being on feet is not a privilege; it's a right.
Yeah.
To press on, to assemble forth,
I think
to
it should be a
legion
right
about.
to be on a bike if you figured out how to ride a bike, but it's.
Well, I mean,
everybody's a little bit different.
I don't want to get into the whole thing about that, but like when you get into, more than you're capable of doing on your own power, or any human is capable of doing. Like we can walk at 3 miles an hour. We can maybe run at 6 miles an hour, right? Or, 10 miles an hour, probably the record's like 15. But, if you're running, right, you run into somebody, I guess you'd be responsible for that, right? But on a bike, it's really easy to be going a lot faster,
right?
The same in a car, right? So you start getting superhuman abilities, right? Which is a privilege.
That's fair.
You see what I'm saying?
I got you.
And so then I think that's why constitutionally, right, it's allowed to regulate things like cars and
laws are an
bikes.
ultimate.
They're not ultimate.
Laws ultimately are there to try and make a civil society.
Yeah, a civil society.
And sometimes those laws feel like a constraint on our civil liberties.
Sometimes.
So
no, they're always.
I think that
that's
the citizens,
conversation, right?
the citizens do feel that way, and that's because they also think they have rights, just like you thought you had rights. But they don't either. They want to be in society. They want privileges. They like them.
Rights have an end because there's things we want to do.
The people have rights because they're willing to die on the hill. Right? There's very few people. I'm one of the people. Martin Luther King was one of the people.
Yes, sir.
Jesus was a perfect example of one of the people. I'm not a perfect example, just more perfect.
We all fall short.
Right? But what I'm saying is that, see, he didn't resist being crucified.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't assist, right? He didn't crucify himself.
Yeah.
But he didn't resist, and he was secure in his beliefs.
Yeah.
As the story is told,
yeah,
right? I'm not saying, real or not real.
Yeah.
Right, but as the story's told, you see, so he lives on, right, because the people never die, right? But like Martin Luther King lives on through, Martin Luther King Day and through because it was peaceable, right? The people have a right to peaceably assemble, right? So that's the only qualifier placed upon the people is they have to be peaceable, which is another clue that you're not one of the people because you don't have to be peaceable. You only have to be reasonable.
That's a good point.
You only have to be reasonable. You don't have to be peaceable.
Okay.
Right? And citizens don't have to be peaceable. They only have to be reasonable. If they have justifiable reasons as to why they breached the peace in defense of their life or in somebody else's life, then they can breach the peace. But the people cannot. No amount of reasons will justify the people breaching the peace, which is why there's no Malcolm X Day.
Yeah.
There's a Martin Luther King Day because he was peaceful.
Yeah.
But Malcolm X wanted to be reasonable. And he said it's reasonable, for us to use violence for our what he knew and called privileges.
Yeah.
Right? He knew that they were not fighting for rights.
Yeah.
Okay, they were, because people have rights. Like Kunta Kinte, ever heard of him?
Yeah.
He was in the movie Roots.
Yes.
Right? He was one of the people. He was not a slave. He would not say his name was Kobe or Toby, right? He was what he was, he didn't care. He took the whipping and accepted the reality, right? He wasn't going to give up his right to speech in order for a privilege of some comfort.
Yeah.
Right? If you're willing to give up your rights for comfort, then you don't have rights.
Yeah.
You have comfort until you lose it because there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
Right? To think that like you can have safety.
What is it? If you give up your rights for comfort, you deserve neither?
Yeah, for temporary comfort or something. But that's the phrase, and it's true, right? But it doesn't exactly say in that phrase that if you have comfort, you also don't have rights.
Yeah.
You see, because rights are not comfortable. Right? They're actually very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It makes everybody uncomfortable when I throw a protest.
Yep.
Right? That's the point of it. That's the power of the people.
Yeah.
Right? Free speech is uncomfortable. If you want to get along, then you have to bite your tongue.
Yeah.
Right? You have to be willing to compromise.
Yeah.
Right? The people don't compromise. Otherwise, they would be compromised.
Fair enough.
Right? And if you're not free, you're not free. So if you're charging for your services like you are, getting a paycheck, or everybody that has a job, they're charging, they're not free.
Right.
So therefore, they're not free.
Everybody's bound to something.
Well, not the people. The people have no binding.
Bruised his brain with that one.
Right? They're on their hill. Nobody's stopping them from getting off of the hill. In fact, everybody wants them to get off the hill until they do, and then they're like, "Oh man, I'm so sad." Right? That you lost your way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what they would say.
Okay.
Right? Like Ukraine and Russia right now. Okay. Yeah. See, we're having a moral crisis in this country, but they're trying to buy righteousness. Right? You have to buy it at the gas pump. I can afford to be a little righteous right now, some would say, right? Because they're doing good in their job. They have savings, so they can afford to pay more at the gas pump, right? And inflation, you know, not just at the gas pump, it's everywhere. I mean, Taco Bell, just a few months ago, I remember you could get the combo box that had 4 beefy burritos and 4 crunchy tacos, and it was $9.99. And today it was 17 something.
What?
That's serious inflation, man.
Holy cow. I haven't been to Taco Bell in a few years, but that sounds wild.
That's serious inflation.
Yeah. For Taco Bell especially.
Yes.
I don't think Taco Bell's prices have adjusted in the past 20 years.
Not that much. I mean, that's like 70% jump.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's huge. And, you know, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
well,
I appreciate you talking to
me.
Yeah.
You mind if I get your name?
Oh, it's not nice to call people names. You see, and this is more to the point. Well, you can call me people, but you don't have to call me anything.
Okay.
We've been talking all this time, and you haven't called me any names, right?
But called you
people
sir.
Is not my name. Yeah. Well, that's a title, and I don't take any titles either,
sure.
right?
Okay.
You have a title like officer,
sure,
right? And that means you're entitled. And entitled is another word for privilege,
okay.
Right? A title is an ownership. It's a deed of ownership. Like a car has a title, a boat has a title, a house has a title, and a police officer has a title too. Because you're bought and paid for. That's the receipt.
Yeah.
You see, when citizens call you officer, it's not out of respect. It's reminding you that we own your ass.
I got you.
Okay. Right. Like that's the receipt, your name tag.
I got you.
Right. But for a lot of years, we haven't talked to you this way. Right. Because, you know, we wanted to look up to you guys. Right. Like the Matt Dillons and the, you know, Andy and Mayberry. Right.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we were taught to respect you guys, right? But now it's all changing, right? But respect was extra. In addition to the paycheck, we didn't have to give it, right? But now officers expect it. Yeah. When I walk up and film, an officer is
among all of us.
Yeah, an officer thinks, oh well, he's used to everybody avoiding him while he's on a traffic stop and giving him some huge bubble of safety around him, and now that's all ending.
Yeah.
Right, because we can take away your privileges of respect. Right, when we see you at Starbucks, we can point our camera and point at you.
Yep.
We can put you on YouTube and humiliate you. Right.
Yep.
And that's the power of revoking privileges. That's all we can do.
If we're humiliated on camera, we're doing something wrong on the other end of that camera.
I would think so. Right? Yeah, I would think so. But, you know, that's the court of public opinion.
That's fair.
Right, and the people have that, but they, you know, they don't have the court of law.
Not at all.
Right? Like, since I don't believe in names, I'll think of all the things that require a name in order to get. I can't get those.
Yeah.
Right? No stimulus check for me.
Gotcha.
Right? No getting on an airplane.
Yeah.
No driver's licenses. No address.
Yep.
Right? All those things. See, I was willing to give those up so that I could press, so that I could assemble in legion and speech.
Okay.
Right? And be secure. Because nobody can take those away.
Yeah. Sounds
yeah. But I have to be peaceable.
Yes, sir.
Right, 100% of the time.
Peaceable, right?
Well, I think everybody thinks that that's a great idea until they feel threatened, and then all of a sudden they're willing to throw out their righteousness and throw punches instead. Right, and peace leads to peace. But violence leads to violence.
Being able to do violence does not mean you're a non-peaceable person.
There's no non-peaceable persons. I mean, peaceable persons. Persons are reasonable. Okay, you have to be reasonable. Right? So in this day and age, it's reasonable to think that we can have a police force that can
kill somebody for escaping jail. Okay, just on sight.
Yeah.
Right in the back. Right, that's reason you can do that. You know that, right?
Jail.
Yes. If you escape custody, then you're
shoot you.
Yes, you can.
I wouldn't be pulling that trigger.
Well, their
Don't.
safety is
But
not
I'm
your
just saying,
responsibility.
I wouldn't
even
recommend
if the court
it.
says you can do something, you
Yeah.
have to be able to live with yourself.
Doesn't mean you have to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying legally, right?
Yeah.
It's reasonable.
Now, if you're
it's reasonable for us to have a
threat
military.
to the community or myself, and you're fleeing,
then
that changes the perspective. But just simply fleeing in and of itself is not.
Well, the rationale is that you already know that they're. I mean, if they've been convicted. I could be wrong that it's not just somebody escaping from jail, but I think it is. But it might be prison, right? If they're a violent,
if you're
fleeing felon.
You're a fleeing felon.
Yeah.
And you're.
So you don't even have to be, escaping
is an addendum
custody.
to that. You have to be a threat to the officer or the public if you continue
your pursuit. Oh, so like if they're going 200 miles an hour or something.
If they're running and if they're running, they have a knife on them, they have a gun on them, something like that. They just got done committing a felony, and they're likely to do another egregious act.
Well, escaping jail is a felony.
But simply fleeing jail is a felony.
I mean, it's not a violent felony. No. Not always.
No, so I could send a dog for that.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not going to pull the trigger just because somebody's running after they got out of a chain gang or something.
That's another story, man.
Yeah.
I think you guys are going to lose dogs.
That's a long.
You guys are going to lose dogs in the near future, I think, because they've been
do good work.
No, you guys abuse them outrageously.
How do you think that?
Because you train your dogs to trigger on hand
because
signal.
I've just seen too many videos of dumbass officers that don't know how to control their dog, right? And
I agree. There's
and they
a lot
just
of videos
unleash
that I've
them.
seen of poor training with poor canine officers.
Yeah,
or
well,
training with officers in general, no different.
I'm not
from
saying
the
Callus specifically. You're going to lose your dogs. I'm saying the court's going to rule that you guys have abused the dogs, right? That you are not capable of using that kind of force in a reasonable manner.
Well,
anymore,
that'll be up to
right?
to decide that. If
Yeah,
they determine.
I hope they
like
do.
I said, I don't like blanket statements because a blanket statement covers a good and a bad person the same.
Yeah, well, when we see a pattern,
Yeah.
of cops misusing dogs, right, and just letting them chew on suspects for
Do you think
cops in their.
Do you think officers abuse tasers?
I think that tasers are pretty ineffective for the most part.
Do you think Do you think officers abuse their asp?
Their asp? I haven't seen a whole lot on that. I don't think most officers are reaching for their asp a lot.
No, they go for the tasers, the
maybe it
pepper
just
spray,
doesn't
and their
get
gun.
publicized.
Usually, the
but
gun.
I have no thoughts on the asp for that reason.
Back to how we're trained.
Yeah.
Another one got away.
So, I feel a lot of officers rely too heavily on this because they don't know what to do with these.
Yeah, they don't know what to do with their hands, right? And these new cops, right, are never willing to just fight.
If
right.
you don't train, if you don't run, if you don't take care of yourself, and you're not prepared to get into a physical altercation with somebody, which is part of our job, and you're depending on this to save your life, and this doesn't work for some reason.
Because they're very ineffective.
Yes, I've had
malfunction a lot
multiple times.
Yeah,
then stop tasing
because
people.
I have to.
That officer just went to jail for murder for confusing her taser with their gun.
She pulled her taser, she pulled her gun. And
yeah,
Yep.
And some like have one in each hand. Oh my God, that's the dumbest thing ever to have a taser in one hand and a gun in the other.
World ending because you thought you pulled your taser.
Yeah, I think
That's
it's kind of hard to
design.
believe, and I don't think the jury believed that either, which is why she went to jail, because they weigh so much different. They feel different. They're different on so many ways.
When your adrenaline's up here, it goes down to muscle memory.
Muscle memory,
right.
right.
If you don't train for that stuff, I'm not paying attention to what colors here. They feel very similar.
Right there.
They're functioned by a trigger in the same manner.
That's the problem.
So when I go taser, 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 I just know it's going to be this motion, which is why a lot of departments don't allow a draw from the same side.
Yeah.
So if you're drawing from here, if you're drawing from here, it's a matter of inches. If I'm drawing from here, it's a matter of about a foot, right?
Yeah, it's actually that could cost you your life. That extra moment,
So,
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that every officer is that way, right? But we have 1 million officers.
No, Carrie. Specifically, the original design of tasers had a thumb trigger, not a trigger, and they did not feel or look like a gun at all. They were more like a little thing that you held in your hand and you trigger it with your thumb. And it was specifically designed to not look like a gun so that no one that saw one would think, oh no, that's a gun. Right? Cops, the system that stands redesigned them to fit in a holster and be as gun-like as possible so they could cross-train guns and tasers in the same training period, and that is killing people.
Yeah.
No other aspect of it. No angry cops, nothing. Just because a gun and a taser feels exactly the same in the hand and deploy exactly the same motions, you're killing people.
Well, they don't feel the same. Actually, an officer is in jail right now for life because they are completely different. She claimed that she thought that she was using her taser when she actually had her gun,
Right.
and she's now in jail for life. And because they're not the same at all, they weigh completely different.
They do weigh
feel completely different.
That's true.
Um,
Not debating
so,
that. What I'm
yeah,
saying is the physical action of musculature utilized to
right,
fire a taser and draw it and aim it are the same as a Glock. It's
right.
the muscles. And so depending on which one you have in your hand when the trigger takes place determines what your response is going to be. It's just like holding a hammer in your hand. That same trigger goes off, you're going to swing that hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wanted to comment on another comment that same commenter made. I don't
Carrie,
know.
yeah, he's got some interesting ideas. You'd like him.
No. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Dyslav.
Data's lot his mandatory carry. That's Volstead Act backwards.
Okay. Well, he said that he guarantees that they know my name, right?
Yeah, I saw that.
And I don't know if he's a troll or if he's just not listening, but I don't have a name, right? It's not mine. Okay. I can't control what somebody else calls me,
Yeah,
right?
that's
But
true.
I'm not going to call myself that, right? I'm people, and that's it, you know. And
I understand, and I can explain that to Carrie later. And asking if he's a troll is like asking if water is wet. It depends
yeah,
on it depends on how he's feeling that day, I suppose. But he's
I
an
suppose.
actual content creator, and he has an actual like topic and subject for his channel. He's not just a troll. If he is,
Right.
he's never trolled me. I've never had a problem with him.
But I mean, obviously, peeps have called me names, right? Obviously, my mom called me a name,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that I have to accept it
Nope.
and use it, right? It's not mine. I don't own it. It's their name for me, and if I won't use it, then it's useless. It's ineffective. And as far as the government is concerned, they're not happy with just calling somebody a name. They want you to say it. You have to say it in order for them to do anything. The entire
You must
court process
identify
is shut
yourself.
down if you will not say a name. If you
Yeah,
will
no,
not identify, they can't do anything. They
just
will.
a little piece of plastic that they all love so much. If you
Yeah.
leave that at home in your sock drawer, it breaks their whole system. They can't wrap their brain around it
Right.
because you are not that piece of plastic, and that piece of plastic is not you.
Right.
And they want to conflate the two as if this that they want so bad is actually you, and it's not.
Well, if you
This,
say that it is,
if you
then
agree
that's
to it,
all they need. Yeah, if you say, "Oh, this is me," and you hand them that piece of plastic, or, but I mean, if you don't, you're going to lose privileges, right? Like when I was kidnapped in Bakersfield, I don't get to make a phone call. I don't get to eat or drink water or have a blanket or whatever. But all those are privileges, right? But if I wanted any of those things, then I would have had to have done what they wanted to do. I'd have to say, a name, right, in order to do it, and walk here, walk there, but eventually, they get tired of actually being the prisoners and
Yeah.
the servants, and they carry me out every time, or I die. I mean, that's just
We
the
can hope
fact
not.
of it. Yeah, if society is willing to let people starve to death in jail over some free speech on the sidewalk, then so be it. Then that's the situation that we're in this day and age. And as people, I don't want to live in that world. I'm willing to starve to death before I give that up. And that's just what people are willing to do. People are rare. If you forget the people, if you doubt the people, then the republic is gone. This republic only
There are
exists
you can keep.
when you remember that people not only exist, but you recognize who the hell they are and what they stand for. And the people don't have anything against the citizens for choosing privileges over rights, because rights don't keep you warm at night. They don't pay the bills. Um, you know, I have no problem with anybody choosing privileges, but all I would say is that uh, if you're one of those citizens that likes their privileges, their car, their house, their girlfriend, their paycheck, their retirement, their vacations to Disneyland. If you're out hollering, I have rights, well, that's hypocritical. It's righteous indignation. You're going to give up those rights in a hot second in order to get those privileges back. So don't push it. Don't get pressy. You know, um, uh, do stay respectful, and it's not, and be reasonable. It's not reasonable to throw a huge protest like people do, right? It's just not reasonable. I mean, you're going to piss off society. You're going to burn bridges. You're going to close doors, right? And you're going to lose privileges every time. So if you're trying to do both, then you probably don't have any rights and you have very little privileges, right? The ones that climb the privilege scale are the ones that don't talk about rights. You never hear a CEO saying, I have rights. Hell no, they have privileges, man. Listen to Tucker Carlson, man. He's always like, you guys got to get past this crisis that you're in where, these morals and stuff, right? Like, we're trying to make money around here. Like, the gas is too much.
It's all
You know,
about commerce, is what it
yeah,
comes down.
he's willing to admit that, it's the privileges is what he wants, right? And I have nothing against that, right? The people, you have a right to choose either path you want, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be freedom, But the people have chosen not to do that. They just want rights, and it's frustrating. It pisses the citizens off to know that there's actually one of the people up on the hill that just won't die.
Just won't go down.
Sometimes, yeah, it just won't go down.
Yeah.
Right? I never run out of coffee.
I
I
love
never
these
run
types
out
of
of.
conversations, mainly because some people don't understand the language that's being used. They're hearing the words that's being said, but understanding them inappropriately because they haven't been introduced to the proper definitions of the words. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
A
they're
lot of
hearing
people,
them being said,
right?
but they're not understanding the definitions.
They hear
A
the
a
vernacular,
lot of
not
peeps
the real
are.
meaning. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of peeps are real happy to hear when people tell cops that they don't have rights, and they can understand that concept that they don't have rights, but they don't realize that, for the same reason that that cop doesn't have rights, you probably don't have rights either. You have civil rights, which
right.
actually are privileges, and only entitle you to due process, your day in court, right? Which is actually a punishment. You're
Well,
going to go through the processor.
certainly punitive as hell. There's no debating that. No one looks forward to going to court. I don't care what side of it you're on.
Well, if that's your job, then you don't care. You're getting paid to do that. The court's working for you. If you're a cop, if you're a lawyer, if you're a judge or whatever, I mean, they chose to do that as their profession. It probably doesn't bother them at all to be in court.
So. I've always been bothered by the juxtaposition of cops, school teachers, and administrators. It seems like cops marry school teachers and administrators and school teachers marry cops. Whether the cops are male or female, it doesn't seem to matter. Cops don't marry cops. Cops marry administrators or they marry teachers. Very rarely you'll come across a cop married outside of that little bubble.
Or nurses.
Okay, nurses. My bad. I forgot about the medical industry. Yeah,
you
you're
forgot
right.
You forgot about nurses and EMTs.
But they're also socially driven. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're similar. Cops oftentimes think that they are a teacher. They're going to educate you. They're going to explain something to you.
We're going to educate everyone in the proper use of the law.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're almost done with this video.
We're almost done with this one.
Yeah.
About another 10 minutes. We'll let it roll.
All right.
Okay, and it's not possible to have that size of a force that is capable of doing this job.
Yeah.
Right? It's an impossible job anyway.
It's a job filled with humans, and we're all susceptible to being a human condition.
Yes, except that you've sworn an oath to do something that goes against human condition, right? Which is to serve and protect others, which you cannot do.
Some people's human condition,
right? Like, let's say that somebody was threatening me, threatening my life, pointing a gun at me, and you walked in between us, right, and risked your life to protect mine. Well, I'm actually now a prisoner, because if I move, then you're not protecting me anymore.
If I hide behind a rock, am I a prisoner to the rock?
No. Yes.
Or am I using that to my advantage?
No, if you're hiding, the people have nothing to hide from. I feel like that's part of the victim
mentality, using something that benefits you and calling that a crutch.
No, I'm saying that, okay, if you are standing in front of me, somebody pointing a gun at me, and I move, then you're not protecting me anymore.
No.
Right? So if I want to rely on your protection, right? If I'm like, officer, protect me, get in front.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of, me trying to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Right? Like, find cover of my own or move or, be a smaller target, right? Well, like trying to distract.
I choose to step between you and a bad thing. You're still free behind me to move to a better position to cover or whatever, but it was my choice to put me between you and the bad thing.
Yeah, but I'm not free to move if I am thinking that only you can protect me.
Moving.
No, it's either I protect myself and run and take my chances, or I let you protect me. Right? The idea of
still the choice. That's freedom.
Right? There's a choice. The framers understood there was a choice. You don't have to be one of the people.
Yeah.
You can be a person and be in privilege land and have the privilege to call 911.
Yeah.
Right? And have you guys come out and save the day instead of, just handling it yourself.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like, we'll just give up our guns and give them to the police because they'll protect us, when in reality, you're drawing chalk outlines most of the time. You don't actually witness the crime.
Yeah.
You get the point, though, right? Yeah. You're getting there after the fact.
There are a few times we actually witness crime. We respond to a crime that happened.
Yeah, you respond
most
to
of
it.
The time.
Right? Yeah. And if, society isn't willing to take care of their own situations, right? If they're going to cry and scream about drunk driving, but yet they don't disown anybody for being a drunk driver. I've never heard of anybody losing a friend over drunk driving, but yet everybody rages on about how terrible it is. Meanwhile, they're friends with endless drunk drivers and don't give a shit. Right. See, so they don't really care. Now, take a sex offender, a pedophile, they really care. Society really cares. And you'll lose your friends if you do something like that. You know what I'm saying? So society is capable of policing for themselves if they want to, but they don't really want to, right? But they want deniability, so they hire all these police officers and call you guys out for every suspicious thing. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I saw suspicious. There's a suspicious car. Really? How is it suspicious?
Well, it's not driving there. I know these neighborhoods, and that car's not there.
Yeah, it's there now. That's not a crime, right? And every day officers are responding to those as if they're crimes.
Yeah.
Right? Demanding ID, and
And we have to tell a lot of
escalating.
people a lot of times it's a civil issue. There's no
Yeah.
there's no unlawful acts going on.
Right. The same with filming. A lot of times citizens don't like me filming.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I don't just film citizens, I film the police, but if you're on a stop, sometimes they don't like to be filmed. I mean, maybe they're not where they're supposed to be.
Citizens and you will officers being filmed.
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
No. It should be that way because citizens didn't take an oath.
Yeah.
Right? They're not, I don't expect them to know the Constitution.
A lot of people expect privacy even out in public.
Even out in public, they do have a misconception that you can be in public and in private at the same time.
Yeah. I'm having a private conversation. Well, welcome to our public.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah. It was private. You know, if two peeps are standing there having a private conversation, you know, they have a reasonable expectation of privacy as long as nobody's within earshot.
Yeah.
Right. But like, say this car has some secret audio recorder right there. Well, then they are violating their privacy. Right. That's wiretapping. If it's a secret audio, unless one person in that conversation.
Every law is different when it comes to recording private conversations.
Now there's only 3 versions.
Okay, there's one party consent states.
I honestly don't know.
And there's two party consent
Ohio
states.
Ohio is a single consent state.
Yeah.
I moved down here in September from Ohio, so that's I'm
here we
still
go again,
transitioning and getting.
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Used to a lot of Florida's verbiage in there.
I'll tell you, it's a single.
He's going to admit to a crime here. He's going to confess to wiretapping.
Right?
He is.
I see this coming. I can see it.
A single party consent state. Right now, we're having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't see anybody around. Okay. So I have, you know, I'm recording.
Yeah.
Right. And I could be secretly recording, and that's okay, even your audio, because one of us knows that there's a recording going on. But if that car, or, well, I don't know about your
you
car.
have to prove intent that was their intention to record.
If they're recording audio, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
If they're recording audio, I mean, just recording it is not really the
cars
crime.
have dash cams with motion sensors. My car, my
Oh,
personal.
no, you can record video.
Yeah.
Just not the audio.
Well, my dash cam in my car, if you walk in front of it, it'll automatically start recording.
Anytime somebody walks in front of a police car?
No, my personal car. Because I've been hit skipped a couple times. I've been hitting parking lots since I moved down here, so I put that in there to make sure that if somebody does hit my car or I get into an accident, that I have my own self covered, that I wasn't doing anything wrong. It's going to support my statements. Here's the video officer.
Well, if you're recording audio, you're wiretapping.
Okay.
But the video, no.
Yeah.
Like you'll see in businesses, they can record your.
I don't honestly know that it records audio. I think.
Now, if you put a sign on your car that says video and audio recording.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you're covered.
Honestly,
because then you're giving.
I think it does. I'm pretty sure it does, but I don't. Yeah.
Then you would be giving notice.
Yeah.
Right, with a sign.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And just that simple sticker that says, you know, video and audio recording is all you need. But if somebody hits you,
yeah.
right, and you couldn't see them, but they're saying, you know, who they are, right, or giving some incriminating details or something that can help you find them, and you use that audio to find them,
I'm sorry,
it's probably going to get thrown out.
Years today, I didn't mean to hit you. Thanks.
I mean, probably they're not going to know the law.
Yeah.
But, you know, if they did know that was wiretapping, then, yeah, that is wiretapping.
Okay.
Right? Just the audio part of it.
I've never heard about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Officer McGee, you do what you do. You're not
nice talking.
You're not detained. You're free to go.
All right,
yeah. You too. Thank you.
That's fantastic.
That's Sergeant now. But Officer Chin, man, do you know who his sergeant is?
Sergeant Lawrence.
Is that your sergeant too?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Sergeant Lawrence. Let him know, man.
Okay.
Your sergeant.
Well said.
Absolutely.
All right, because like I said, I've had nothing but good experiences with Ocala PD.
That's great.
But I knew there was going to be a tyrant eventually.
Well, we've all got different personalities, but I'll certainly bring it up, okay?
All right, yeah. Thank you. Press Sergeant now. Right?
Yeah. He did bring it up, and I talked to him again later. He said I wouldn't have any more problems, and I didn't.
Well, that's cool.
Right. I never saw that guy again, but no other officers gave me any issues or whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean that cop was cool,
Still
McGee.
all, but that's cool that they do honor their oath mostly.
Well, I mean every department has cliques, and there's usually two groups. You know, they're the ones that like Officer McGee there that kind of maybe they don't care about filming.
Uh,
Some of
was
them
it
actually
Piggy
like it.
Squealing that I missed? I closed that one out by accident in the middle of the show.
The what?
Piggy Squealing. Or was that the weird bald guy that looked like
Oh yeah, the two troopers at
okay, yeah, okay,
Starbucks.
we saw all of them that I got.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, we watched all the videos. Yeah, if you're gonna make sure to put those two links to those
I'll get it
original
linked in.
videos in the description.
The way this generally goes is it'll stay up for 24 hours, and then I'll put it on I'll download it, put it on unlisted. I'll go in and edit out all my coughs and the weird things, where we
Oh,
did stuff that isn't pertinent, where I was like talking to people and whatnot in the chat when we took our little break or whatever, that kind of stuff. I'll just edit that stuff out, and then I'll do an upload of it probably in a couple of days, and it'll have all the links all spread out in the description and everything. It'll all be tied together.
all
It's
right.
kind of hard to do it after the live stream has started, and I was going to do it beforehand, but like I said, I wanted to talk to you about the 2 extra videos that you had before I actually showed them.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good stream. I'm in no rush or anything. As you can see, we've been talking. We were talking an hour before this stream even started.
yeah. Oh, dude,
Yeah.
I could sit and do this in fact, like my plan at this point, I'm going to do a little play out that I do to kind of show me where the end of the show is, and we can discuss the terminology that you use. Because I've heard it before. A lot of people haven't heard the way you speak, right? And I think you know what I mean. You
Yeah,
use
the way
the
I speak.
same language with a different meaning from the vernacular, and
Yeah, well, I
it's
speak
just
the
very
language of
petty.
the people. The
I agree.
language of the
I understand,
people is not the same as the language of the persons.
and it's also not the vernacular. Like the
It's not
commonly understood meaning of things is not what you mean. You mean
right.
something very specific,
Very specific.
very specific,
If
and
you're
I don't
talking
know
about people, uh, in are you specifically talking about how the word people is used?
all of that. Let me do the play out. We'll get back to it. You can
Oh,
explain.
okay. All right.
Okay,
All right.
it's just a little editing blip that I do. It gives me a second to kind of talk to the chat for a second,
Sure.
just make
Go
the
ahead.
show. It puts the gloss on the ends of it. But
Oh,
I'm gonna
gloss
bring
on
you
the
up.
ends of it. I'm all for
You know what
gloss
I
on
mean?
the ends of it. Yeah,
A
yeah.
little bit of glaze on the donut.
Glaze on the donut. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So I'm gonna do a transition into a big screen for you. I appreciate you coming in, brother. You got anything you
Absolutely.
want to tell everybody?
Press on, press harder, press now. The
Thank you,
people win
sir.
again. It's a conspiracy. Be sure to subscribe to HPR News, to Dragonet Transparency, of course, to SJBT and Rogue Nation if you're not already subscribed to those. Uh, yeah, yeah. And anytime you see real Jingy and stuff,
Yeah, I
smile
appreciate
for sure.
All right, brother. I appreciate you coming in. I had a ton of fun, and I'm gonna take me about 2 minutes to pull this last little bit off, and then we'll have us a real conversation. All right.
All right, sure.
All right, brother. 2 seconds. Let me do this thing. This thing. All right. I appreciate each and every one of you coming by, and you know how the end of the show goes. I do this little talk out. I tell you all that I love you and that someone cares somewhere. I would love to be able to do that wonderful spiel that Mexican Longhair does, or even the one that Untethered Live does. He does a real good one at the end of his videos. I've never been able to write anything and repeat it like I wrote it, so I always just ad lib it out. But yeah, I appreciate y'all coming by, and we're not going anywhere. I'm just gaming the system. That's all. That's all it is. Gaming the system. So y'all have a good one.
Yeah, yeah, let's go.
That was the wrong one. Let's do the right one. Do it right.
Hey, she was a cutie in a sundress. I told her I just had to confess. I got a crush on you.
darling. Them long tan legs got me.
And we are still live. We are doing a slightly different thing. It's no longer quite so regimented. Feel free to speak however you wish.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah.
sense?
Yeah,
All right.
you had some specific questions about the language?
I'm sorry, I couldn't see or hear for a second there. My hair got out.
Oh, you had some specific questions about the
Right.
language, the vernacular?
Um, okay, I'm gonna pitch it as I came across this manner of speaking. When I was in high school, I encountered a man named Gypsy Joe. Gypsy Joe, I can't say he spoke just like you, but he had a lot of similar usages, right? He said a lot of the same phrases. Very wise man. And he impressed me by his intelligence just on the surface of it because he, for lack of a better term, was a people. He wandered around doing whatever it was he was doing. Now this predated the whole auditor thing. None of that was a part of it. He We called him Gypsy Joe. That's what he introduced himself to me as. Hi, I'm Gypsy Joe. That wasn't his name. That's just what he identified as, right? But he went through a lot of the same linguistics that you go through, that you're speaking. Like trying when you say people, you either identify as that as an individual speaking the language, or you're speaking about the people in toto. Am I
Well, people are not individuals. Okay, if you want to be an individual, you can, but people are people, right? And like if I ask you how many people are talking right now, I'm sure that you will say one, right? So clearly you know that uh, there's people talking, right?
sure?
People is singular and plural.
That's
um,
the part that people
People,
have a problem with.
the people are plural,
Exactly.
right? And we, the people, are definitely plural, right? So you can see how the framers made sure to clarify when it was plural and when it wasn't plural, right? We, the people, right? The word we means plurality, okay? There's no we talking right now, right? At this very moment. It's just people talking, right? And, it may sound odd or whatever. It has to be phrased exactly right in order to fit with perfect grammar and everything, and it's natural to want to insert other words and not use the same people word all the time. But any attempt to change people into something else is an attempt to divide the people, and it's not just government doing that, it's everybody, right? Into male,
Yes.
female, black, white, short, tall, Republican, Democrat, right? Whether you are what
These
you
are all
believe.
divisions.
Yeah. But individuals, persons can be anything they want to be, but people can only be what they are, right? And they
True.
don't get to to be anything they want to be. That's craziness, right? But at the same time, if you have, the right to believe what you want, then you can believe that you can be anything you want to be, whether it's true or not.
Right?
That's what freedom is, right? And so if you wake up tomorrow and decide that you want to be a carpenter, then you can believe that, and society is probably going to take part in your fantasy delusions, right? That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's freedom, you know. But the people, um, like Socrates, I would consider him one of the people, right? You know, he was just what he was, right? I am what I am.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
you know, by any name.
Well, I mean,
But
you can only be what you are. You can say you are any number of things, but in reality, you're still what you were to start
yeah,
with.
you haven't changed. But
Just
I
changed
mean,
except
that
for
all
the
gets left behind,
stencil that gets wrapped around the outside.
right? But you don't actually believe that at the end of the day, right? I mean,
Yeah, I
you're
mean, if I say
Caucasian
I'm a fighter
Sasquatch.
pilot, that doesn't make me a fighter pilot. That makes other people have to consider that I said I was a fighter pilot.
Yeah, you're Caucasian Sasquatch.
Right. I say I'm a Caucasian Sasquatch, and that's exactly how much force it has behind it.
Right, but that's an
That's it.
identity.
Yeah. The only thing that gives it any amount of value is the fact that these people don't know my name at all. They can't identify me that way. So the only way they have to identify me is the name I have given.
Right. But people are
Right.
people, and you can't identify people, right? It's hard to talk about people without talking about people. It's impossible, actually, right? So if if what you're saying doesn't apply to people, then it doesn't apply to people,
Right.
and it's
I
just
know.
how it
I
is.
know.
If there's 100 people in the chat, all with the same screen name of people, um, you don't know who people are. You don't know which one is which, right? There's no separating
At that
them. There's
point,
no
you're
dividing them. They're
driven
just
down to
people.
identifying spelling or identifying like details in the writing. I mean, they would each have to speak their own truth, I suppose.
Yeah,
From
but that's what it is. That when the people speak, it's they're saying a lot of different things. They send mixed messages.
oh yeah,
People have different points of view, and it's impossible to pin people down.
it is
Uh,
almost impossible to get three people to agree on any given thing, much less facts or opinions.
right, but sometimes they do.
Sometimes they do. That don't make it true though. That just means those three those three
Right.
agreed.
Right, those three agreed. I mean, when the Constitution was written, okay, those people that signed the Constitution, um, they were people in the sense at that point because they didn't have any governing body over them. Right, there was no government established that was telling them what to do. But as soon as they signed it and agreed to be regulated and be part of the government, they were no longer people anymore. Right. I mean, they weren't even really people. None of those signing the signers of the Constitution were really people, and because they were privileged.
Oops. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I just touched the one button I'm not supposed to touch on this thing, and it minimized everything. So like, give me
Yeah. But
seconds to put it back together.
like like 50 some odd people agreed on the Constitution. That's hard to do, but can you
Right.
still hear?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just having to rebuild all of this. Okay, we're good. We're back.
Let me fix the
There
echo.
is this one button I have down here that minimizes my entire desktop. It just puts everything in the pocket. It'll also keep running. It just goes, and I can't see it no more. And I got to go back in and go click, click, click. I want to see this. I want to see that. I want to see that. And it
Right.
happens when my mouse goes to sleep and I reach over and move it to make it light back up so it doesn't do the weird draggy thing it was doing. I reach over and touch it and it goes, everything disappears. First time it happened, I tried to start a brand new stream. It was still streaming.
Still
Or
streaming. Yeah.
still streaming. I'm an idiot sometimes.
Mm.
I
But
think it's
that
all
can be a
pretty well,
hang
right?
up with,
I think it is.
huh?
Got about another 15 minutes.
Sure.
I'm just chatting. I just do this. I can't help it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to rush you or nothing. I was just commenting that we got 15 minutes till a 3-hour turnover.
Sounds good to me. Another word that, a word of the people, right, is press.
Right.
And that's a battle that I'm really trying to push or press right now. Right, is that press is not a group. Okay, press is an action.
Hmm.
I mean, everybody that watches my channel should know that by now, but yet they're still running around saying, I'm with the press, I'm part of the press. Um, they're still trying to be cute and snide with their little homemade press badges as if there's such a thing. But all they're doing is just reinforcing the lie, the nonsense, and regurgitating it like it's fucking funny, man. It's not funny. Okay, the people press. That's what they do, right? And it's not the right of the press. It's the right of the people to press. Okay, there's no such
Right.
thing as a right of the
There
press.
are no press. As when it comes down to trying to identify what they are, it's just people. They don't have any special skills or any special tools or any special rights or anything like that. It's just a people.
Yeah,
Pick up
the press doesn't exist. The press
right
is a thing. It's a
action.
printing press is
Yeah.
a press, right? To say that you're part of a press, what part? I mean, are you the screw or the nut? You know, uh, maybe the nut. I don't know,
I might
but
have to get that. I don't
yeah,
know.
I'm just
Makes
really
sense.
tired of hearing uh, peeps say that they're with the press or that they're part of the press, right? Or you know, it's they're people and people press, right? If you're going into a building and somebody asks what you're there to do, say, I'm here to press.
And press on.
Well,
And
sure,
press
press
on.
on. But I mean, if you want to throw that out there, that's all good.
Oh, you know I'm gonna. First chance I get.
Press on, press harder, press now. But
Uh-huh.
those are cool phrases. I mean, press on. Uh, Calvin Coolidge said that that phrase "press on" would solve all the problems of humanity. But
Calvin Coolidge is not generally uh, given the respect that he actually deserved. Most
well, he
people
was
have
a
no idea what
scholar.
he did.
He was a scholar.
Yeah, well, I mean, most people. He was, yeah, he was a scholar. He didn't do any sweeping, massive things. He did very elegant, small, useful things, and most people don't realize it. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of time in school, I don't believe.
No, he doesn't. No, but he did say that press on would solve all the problems of humanity because if you just press on, then you're moving on. You're getting over it. You're not dwelling. You're you're not sitting in the same place. You're definitely not going backwards. Just press on. But if you go into a building and they say, what is your business? It's to press. You have pressing business, pressing matters, right? If
I
they
hear you.
ask, who you are, you're people, right? And whether or not my, I agree that your people standing on your hill all the time or not is irrelevant. The government is supposed to assume your people, right? And if you act like people, you will be people. But the truth
They
is they
they
know that
assume
you
your
have
power.
privileges. You're not fooling anybody with that, right? And you can say you're people, but if you parked your car outside, they're going to be circling it.
Yeah.
They're going to be running your license plate, right? They're going to be figuring out where you live and where you work and who you know and who they can go
And what kind of
and
permissions you have, and
yeah,
whether or not you had this license or this permit or that permit, and then they're gonna
yeah,
find out you're missing a permit, and they're gonna come get you. Their only job, paperwork and locking
absolutely.
people up.
Absolutely. But that's all they can do is take privileges, and they will try and take them. I mean, they might try and get you trespassed or something. right?
Exactly.
Or get you
Thanks for
fired from your
the
job.
show, brother.
Truth be told, audits. Yeah.
He's a good one.
Good
He's a
to
good
see you.
one.
Huh?
He's been a friend of the channel since my channel started. He was maybe my second or third guest, and he's been cheerleader, man. I've loved every minute I've spent with him. It's been great.
Oh yeah. I've seen a few of his videos. I like what I saw.
He just got arrested like day before yesterday for
Oh yeah.
for press. Yes. That's exactly how and why he got arrested. I think he might make a mint on that one. Them boys was way out of pocket. They had no business messing with him. He walked into an open parking lot. There was a fence around the parking lot. There was a gate on the fence. The gate was open. He wandered in and filmed the cars. Turned around, there's cops over there getting upset that he's there. And they keep, get this, you know how they're trained to talk, asking him to leave and saying it's an order. Oh, that burns my bonnet, man. I can't. Ooh, when they're like, well, I've asked you to leave 3 times. Okay. And I said no. Why is this an issue? You asked, I denied your request. Conversation over. Be gone. I don't see the issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Not to like criticize anybody's approach, but I always take the approach of when somebody says something dumb to snap on them like a motherfucker, right? And to
Oh,
get in front of
no
them
comment.
right away
I
with
approve
something
of no
like, "Have you
comment.
bumped your fucking head? Have you lost your goddamn fucking mind?"
Oh God,
Right? And make them
I love
think.
it.
Step back a second, right? You'll never, ever, ever, never hear me being like, "Is that a request?" Because you're just giving them time to build their strength, right? You're just allowing them the time um, to agree with themselves and form resolve in order to take action. Once
Yep.
they decide that's what they believe and that they agree with what they believe, then it's much more likely that they're going to uh, follow through on their beliefs, right?
Yep.
So I don't ask questions that I don't want answers to. In a question like, "Is that a request or an order?" is a question I don't want a fucking answer to. What I want to know is if they've bumped their fucking head, if they've
Right.
lost their goddamn mind. Do you have fucking diabetes, bitch? Right? Like, are you
Something definitely
experiencing
does.
a low blood sugar attack? What the hell's going on with you, man? Is this still fucking America? Right? These are questions that, I recommend, right? None of this
Yeah.
polite niceties that might build your YouTube channel in a monetizable way, um, but also might get you kidnapped, or if you're a person, a citizen, arrested, right, and thrown into the due processor,
Yeah.
spun around.
You get put through the wash and jerked out clean and dry and broke.
Yeah,
Because once you
exactly.
break, they're not interested anymore. They don't care.
Yeah. I mean, there's uh, a lot of viewers on YouTube that will love to watch you get arrested and kidnapped, maybe tased or whatever. They'd love to see that happen. That's
Yeah.
real exciting for them.
Well,
Um,
YouTube is a cesspit of people simply waiting for you, for me, for Truth Be Told, for Walter Davis to all melt down and go insane so they can watch the process. They,
yeah,
I'm not saying it's everybody, but there is an overwhelming amount of just raw, irate aggression with no actual outlet. They just scream at each other in an unending tirade of vitriol, useless.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
don't want to be a part of any of that. When people start misunderstanding or intentionally misunderstanding or just petulantly disagreeing because, not because of any particular point we have right now, but because of something that was said 20 minutes ago, fuck them. I really don't have enough time to sit around and worry about whether or not they know the definitions of a word that I understand. That's their
right.
problem, not mine. It's not my ignorance, it's their ignorance. And I can't I can try to help them. But if they're just going to assume that they're correct and seek hubris over understanding, I've got no shits to give about that one. That's not even my problem.
No shits to give. Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
Fresh out.
I mean, there's a lot of commenters that'll say if you don't file a lawsuit, then you're not doing anything. I agree. I mean, I disagree. I don't think lawsuits do anything. I've never heard anybody that files lawsuits say that they do anything or say that they're worth a damn. They're all a big, giant hassle that they get nothing out of and accomplish nothing, right? Maybe some bragging rights later, but it doesn't amount to anything, right? And it certainly doesn't stop the next officer from acting the same way. What matters is the court of public opinion, right, and changing the impression that the citizens have of the police, right, revoking that privilege to respect, um, you know, keeping them looking over their shoulder, wondering if their neighbors are talking about them, if their wife is talking about them, their kids don't want to be seen with them. Their family doesn't want to admit that they're a cop. They don't want to admit that they're a cop. Eventually they'll just stop being a cop, right? Because that's how you change their behavior, right? That's how you revoke their qualified immunity or their unqualified immunity, as I like to call it. Right. I just don't give a damn, you know. Um, but there's, if you throw a protest and stand your ground and the cops leave, let me know. I'll show that video as long as you're, throwing in profanity and obscenity, right? If
Yeah.
you're being polite,
I
if you,
also owe NC Tyrant Hunter a BAM on at least one cop somewhere. I got a couple of them saved up. You're familiar with NC Tyrant Hunter, right?
yeah,
How you do the BAM,
yeah,
When he came on the show, he was like, "Well, when you start traveling, you get out there. I want you to BAM a cop for me somewhere, some point in time. One of them will earn it. You do the one that earns it." I was like, "All right, man."
yeah, I know. He thinks he invented the middle finger and shit.
Hey,
He
he
didn't.
branded it.
Sit on it and twirl, bitches. This ain't
Yeah,
a
go
band,
for it.
okay? It's a middle finger. It's the First Amendment, right up your due processor and shit. But it's not a BAM. I feel like I have to say it's not a BAM. Okay,
What he does is it's a BAM because
I
he
know.
BAMs.
Yeah, but this ain't a BAM,
Gives us a BAM.
right?
Just the way he says it, man. It just sounds like it's a noise generator. It sounds artificial, but it's his voice. It's actually him.
Right,
It's cool to me. I like it.
right.
I like Joe Cool's approach.
Joe
Um,
Cool, Joe Cool, baby.
oh
Yeah,
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 oh yeah, baby. Um, the way he's so very saccharine, nice. He's so nice until he's not, and
until he's not.
suddenly he's 110% not nice anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe Cool was featured on Press Harder. There's a
Mhm.
video of Joe Cool for
And
sure.
he's also a real cool person in person. Like talking to him, he's maybe not what I had expected. I guess I shouldn't expect things. I've learned a little better now, but having come across him, I was quite impressed with his elocution.
His elocution.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't met Joe Cool. I've met NC Tyrant Hunter. I've filmed with him on
I've
several
met this
occasions.
person just on StreamYards like this, but I'm just getting everything together to go traveling. I'm going to run into all of y'all. Yeah. What are you going to do when Sasquatch finds you? I mean, everybody always looking for Sasquatch. What happens when Sasquatch starts looking for folks?
Well, if somebody just runs into me, that's about the only way to do it. I don't really tell anybody where I am.
That's fine.
The peeps that I met have always been a surprise to them. I just show up where they are, and I'm like I'm at Starbucks, and let them know, right? Uh, because I choose who I meet. Nobody chooses to meet me. You know, because I don't make phone calls. I don't give out numbers or emails or anything like that. And
Right.
and plus, I'm pretty choosy. I don't really talk shit about anybody unless you're the enemy of the people or something. But other than that, right? Like, I think everybody has their own way, and I'm down for it. Whether you want to go and film buildings, or if you want to film citizens or whatever, it's all the First Amendment. I only film government, and more specifically cops, and I don't go looking for it ever, right? That's my way, right? I don't
Yeah.
instigate, and I don't choose to, like, really go around anybody that does that. Most of my videos are not protests. I'm looking for a conversation. I'm not trying to create a video, right? I don't look for content because I don't benefit from a YouTube channel. Whether I have a subscriber or 20,000, it doesn't change my life at all. I get nothing from it. No money, or no, you know, anything, right? So, I have no interest in uh, conforming to what the fans want, or uh, collabing with other channels per se, right? Like,
Hmm.
I meet who I like, or I think I like, as a man, like who they actually are. Um, Whether or not they have a big successful channel or no channel at all, or they're just a commenter or whatever. It makes no difference to me, right? Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and tell you that you're the greatest in the world just because you have a couple 100,000 subscribers. I could care fucking less, because it doesn't. I don't benefit by subscribers.
Will it keep you
You know.
warm when you're cold at night?
Yeah, I'm
Will
not
it
trying to
fill
sell
your stomach
merch.
when you are hungry?
Right.
Will it come to help you when you are in trouble? If none of these things are applicable, it's not real.
Well, none of those things matter, to me, because only I can help me. Right. I never
That's what
asked
I'm
for
saying.
anything, so I would never. Nobody can come and help me when I'm in need, because one, I don't tell them I'm in need. Two, I'm not in need. I have everything I need. I believe that it will always show up. Um, if I need it, right? So nobody can say I've asked them for help, right? I don't ask for help, right? I just put one foot in front of the other and go forward and do the work first, and so I don't. That's not a friend to me. I don't need you to do anything for me, right? A friend to
Right.
me is just somebody that I can trust, right? That has the same values,
The
you
same
know.
value is very important.
Yeah, that stands with the
I
people.
developed a I developed a saying from back during my junkie days, where I don't trust anyone. I trust individuals to be themselves, because you can trust a Tom to be Tom. You can't trust him to be an upstanding member of the community. Tom's a crackhead.
Tom's a crackhead. Yeah,
You can't trust him to show up and help better water when something's on fire, but you can trust him to be over there smoking crack. You can bet he's right there.
yeah,
I mean, it's sad and it's unfortunate, but you kind of got to pick your battles on that kind of stuff.
yeah. You can trust that Tom is going to talk shit about you behind your back. You know, uh, I mean, somebody that does that, right? Like, that's a no go for me. I don't talk about my friends in a bad way, right? Ever, and somebody that does that, I have nothing to do with them, right?
Oh yeah.
I won't talk
Like
to
I
them
said
again.
before the
Like,
show,
if somebody
everybody's
sits
one.
with me and talks shit about my enemy for 2 hours, I'm like, great, we're on the same page. But then after I leave them and they go and turn around and I see them with my enemy, I know that they're a double talking jive turkey, right? And I will have nothing to do with them, you know.
That's respect.
And that's all I can do. I can only control who I talk to, right? It's not that I hate them or that they've really done anything wrong. It's just they're not genuine and sincere in my book, you know.
Sincere, genuine.
Yeah,
These are things that a lot of YouTubers have an issue with. You know, they always want to depict something that other people that they think other people want to see, and so they try to be that thing. I've got this thing that happens to me when I go live. I smile and I just start doing this thing. It's not an act. It's not something I put on. I can't just turn it on and I can't make it happen. But it's it's still part of me. It's just as much a part of me as the other person that I am when the camera's not on, you know?
yeah, it's still part
There's
of
no difference. It's just that I smile more and I'm a bit more open with it and vociferous perhaps.
vociferous. Yeah,
Use that word wrong or nearly wrong.
or nearly wrong. Yeah,
Nearly wrong.
right.
Pretty
Right.
close. But
Yeah, I
it's
just try to be genuine and sincere. You know, like
right.
I smile at pretty much everybody that I see in a chat somewhere. Right? It's a smile. I'm smiling at you. You know what I mean? It's not the same as if I give somebody 100. Right? If I give somebody 100, that means I think they're 100. You
I
know what I
love
mean? And those are rare, right? If you see me give somebody a badge, that means that they have a badge. That's a big deal to me, right? A badge means that they have some sort of emoji before and after something that's in all capital letters in between, right? Like Real Jingy is the
no.
ambassador to the
Oh
amendments.
no. Come on, people. You're gonna have me sitting down with a slide rule and a Rolodex trying to figure out what you're actually trying to say with these emojis. I'm gonna decipher it like the freaking Rosetta Stone. We're gonna get to the bottom of this, but no, I ain't got nearly enough time for all that. I'm running a channel over here. You're safe.
No, I mean, there's a code, you know, there's they do have meaning, but what I'm saying is that I don't go into every chat and be like, you're the greatest. Right?
Oh,
Because
that's
not everybody is the greatest. You can't all be the greatest, right? Not in my
uh,
opinion, you know.
Real Jingy's been here the whole time. I'm gonna ask him. Real
Yeah,
Jingy,
real Jingy
have
is
I
the ambassador to the amendments. He's the highest ranking
fantastic.
union member.
But he's been here the whole time, and he should be able to answer this question. I've been trying to stay on top of his mic settings to keep them from glitching out like they do sometimes. Have I been doing well enough with that? Does it cut it out on YouTube side when it goes scratchy like that, or can y'all even hear it? I don't know. I've been dying to know the whole time. It's been driving me crazy because I've been on it. Like the second it pops up, I fix it. I fix it. I fix it. And that was part of the reason why things were glitching was because I was going back and forth and had windows moved in the wrong places and stuff. And my computer does not like that. It doesn't like this monitor here at all. It's on some kind of different form factor or something. It hates it.
I've done it a couple of times and cleared the cache like you showed me.
I just kept your mic settings open over here, and the very second it started clicking, I'd click it and clear it. I was trying to
Yeah,
keep it clear so you could be understood, man. Do the best I could do.
yeah. So
Okay,
I'm glad
cool.
you brought up though the language of the people, right? Because in the Constitution, um,
Different
if
language.
you take a look, you'll see that the first part of the Constitution, the preamble and the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, and the first 8 words of the Fourth Amendment are all written in script
Right.
in a beautiful language, the language of the people. And once you get past the 8th word of the Fourth Amendment, then it turns into legalese, which is boring in these huge long paragraphs with
Very
uh,
much. like a
qualifiers
government
after
source.
qualifiers after qualifiers that are just so hard to understand and are confusing and open for all kinds of interpretation by the courts. Right, that's when you get into privilege land. But the language of the people is there for a reason. It's for the people, and you don't hear those words said because you're not meeting people. Right? Only people use the language of the people. You don't hear anybody walking around saying, "Press on, assemble forth, legion about, speech it
I hear
up."
one person, at least,
Well, one
and I'm
people.
happy to know you.
You
One
hear
people.
people, yeah, but persons don't. Right? I'm not a person. I don't go in my person. Right? The Fourth Amendment right of the people not to go in their person or their houses or their papers or their effects. Um, you know, they have a right not to do that, right? I mean, some would say that, okay, that sentence, right? The right of the people to be secure in their person. Some would say that,
Right. No, that's
what
exactly the bit I wanted to bring up, and I forgot to do it. I kept running it through my head, trying to say it right in my head, and I couldn't get it to come out. Say that again.
the
The
right of
right.
the people to be secure in their person,
Right.
right? So, generally speaking, uh, it's thought of that person in that sentence means body, right? So when you're in your person, that means like you're in your body, right? Like if you go
But
somewhere in person, that means
but
your
that
body
doesn't
is
span
there,
out the rest of the language in the Constitution.
right? It doesn't really make sense. I mean, but I mean, a person is a persona. That's the obvious definition of it, right? And so it's the right of the people to be secure in their persona, right? And
I'm
that's
Scott be secure as Caucasian Sasquatch. I don't have to use, like, the other
yeah,
names and stuff.
that's a persona, Caucasian
Okay, well, here's
Sasquatch.
an interesting thing that happened to me, and I never thought this through. This was not something that I ever considered. When I started my YouTube channel, just to make everything easier, I started a Google profile. I linked everything back to my Google profile and didn't think another thing about it. Fast forward a year, and I'm calling up around trying to find somebody to put a roof on my house. When lo and behold, I get a call back from a company who goes, "Excuse me, can I talk to Mr. Sasquatch?" And my response was, "Not, Mr. Sasquatch is my father." And that woman just sat there and she said, "I'm so sorry. I just don't know where to go with that." And I tried my best to get a copy of that recording from that woman. And that business went out, like, is no longer exists. There's no one for me to call to get a copy of it anymore. It went out of existence right after that phone call took place. But I did manage to get a roof on my house, and I'm quite happy with it. So there's that.
As
Yeah.
Caucasian Sasquatch.
As yes, I yes, legally as a Sasquatch. Inadvertently, I didn't mean to do that. That was just a byproduct of the social media world that's functioning around us.
Right. But that's a persona, but
Yeah.
a persona is just the same as a body, right? It's not what you really are, right? It's like there's the spirit, the conscience, the people, right? And then there's the body, the shell, the persona, the wrapping around it that is presented to everybody.
Okay.
And they're two different things, right? Like I think everybody can understand that there's your spirit, your conscience is not your body, right? And as you age, your body gets older, but your spirit gets wiser,
Okay, man. I don't know. I'm
right?
feeling a little spiritually drained over the past couple of years, brother. Like I feel a little aged there.
Well, persons let their spirit go, right? Because they're trying to build their person, their persona, right?
Right.
Build their character, right? And and that's okay. But people
We lost.
They only care about their conscience.
I'm sorry.
Right? If their conscience is clear, if their spirit is intact, like Socrates, he said that the body and all the bodily pleasures were just getting in the way of his spirit, right? And like eating and the urge to eat, or sexual desire, or
Do you ever read any Diogenes?
yeah, absolutely. I've studied every philosopher on Stanford's list
Right.
of Western philosophy.
Diogenes is one of those that slips through the cracks quite often. And if you want to find, like, trying to explain the philosophy there is difficult when people haven't actually read the words.
Well, he wrote books on animal husbandry. Are you referring to that philosophy?
No, I was speaking more along the lines of his Diogenes believed he first of all, he he was a wealthy man who cast off all of his wealth and value in order to live as a people. He didn't want all of that stuff. He wanted to have a real meeting with people, and I can't explain it better than that because it's a very similar type of language that he uses. Now, of course, it was what 4,000 years ago, but the same concept still existed. It was a thing even then.
About 2,500 years ago.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
he was at the time of Socrates. I think he wrote some of the.
contemporary. Yeah,
I think he knew Socrates, actually, if I recall.
I think Socrates referred to him a couple of times. I think he was.
Well,
I can't remember.
Socrates never
I'll
wrote
go look at it.
anything. The
I'll
only
have
reason we know about Socrates is from
other
writers
people write it.
like
Yeah.
Plato and Aristotle and Diogenes. I think he was at the trial of Socrates.
I think Diogenes was at the trial of Socrates, and he made one of the most epic Chad statements when Socrates died, uh, that there was nothing else to be upset about, and left. Just left, went out and peed on a freaking dog. No, dude, Diogenes was an absolute savage. When I think it was the Macedonian troops showed up in Athens, I think he lived in a jar in Athens. Anyway, when the Macedonians showed up in Athens and they came in trying to find the most important man, Diogenes stood up and said, "It is obviously me." And of course, they thought that was funny because this crazy dirty guy just climbed out of a jar with a bunch of dogs and was like, "I'm the most important man here." But lo and behold, the governor had already run, the castle guard had already run, and all of the merchants were already gone, and no one else was standing in Athens saying they were important enough to talk to. So guess who talked to Alexander the Great?
Diogenes.
Ah, and do you know what he told Alexander?
No.
"I would rather be me and free than you and bound to all this wealth." And then he climbed back in his jar and went back to sleep with his dogs.
Mhm.
And Alexander went as far as going, no, I think he might be right. He's got
Alexander studied under Aristotle.
right. Aristotle was before Diogenes. Diogenes was old, but he didn't act. He had stopped doing his philosophy writings before he became the absolute savage that he later became. I mean, he just like he would pee on kings and and peons alike. He didn't care, and he was oh, dude, go look into his later life. It's great. There, like, yet again, there are no writings of Diogenes from this pyramid period. All of the references we have of Diogenes after he moved into the jar are from other people who encountered him and went, "That was some real stuff. It happened," and they wrote it down.
It happened. Yeah. Well, philosophers generally understand these concepts, right? That You can't be in two places at the same time. You can't have rights and privileges at the same time. Aristotle established the three laws of logic, right? The first law being the law of identity, which is A equals A equals A, where people equals people equals people.
Right.
The third law is the law of non contradiction, meaning that A cannot equal B, right? Which people cannot equal person. And the second law, I always do it out of order because it makes more sense that way. But the second law is the law of the excluded middle, meaning that A cannot be B and A at the same time. So people cannot be persons and people at the same time. But the Fourth Amendment allows you to believe that you can be. You can be people in your person. And then if you keep going, you can just be a person,
Sorry.
right? And so there's people in their person, and then there's persons, and all three of those possibilities are there in the Constitution. But Aristotle would have gotten to the ninth word of the Constitution and been like, hold up,
He'd have lit
everything
it up,
after this
smoked up,
point,
man.
yeah,
Aristotle would
everything
have been
after
a
this
part of that
point
shit.
violates the laws of logic. All three laws of logic just got violated. And
Right.
and he would know that you can't go any further and still be correct, right? That the people, everything for the people is before that point. The people have the rights, and if you want to go into your person and be a person, then go there. But all that righteousness has been left behind.
Yeah, man. I need to ask you.
Right?
I want
Huh?
a cup of coffee so bad it's just biting at my gizzard. I'm
A
gonna
cup
go
of
sit.
coffee?
Yeah, I've been sitting here watching you drink that coffee all night. I had one cup right when we started. I've been sitting here going. I've been drinking water down like crazy, and it's not doing it. I need a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. You go ahead
All
and
right.
talk. To chat. I don't know if chat's chatting anymore. It may have glitched out. I don't.
Is there anybody in chat? How many peeps are in the chat?
It says we got 7 people, 9,
Seven.
7 people.
Okay.
Between
I'll,
7 and 12 people.
I'll read some comments there. I see Truth Be
Give
Told
2 seconds.
Audits.
I'll be right back.
Yay, praying hands and a heart. Swiss Miz. The legalese is international to separate from the classes from their rights. Yeah. 357 Sig beats 9 millimeter. Praying hands. Black magic with the star being orbited by a double or a double. Yeah, real jingy. Yeah, smiley face, thumbs up, 100 pow fire. That's a proper yeah if I've ever seen one. I hear scratching, but it's not bad enough to walk away. Dot dot dot. Yeah, that's funny if you know real jingy too. Eddie Gannon, still here too, brother. Yeah. Truth be told, audits. I don't hear nothing, bro. I like to read comments backwards and out of order because I'm just savage like that.
Get on.
Haven't noticed anything. You're number one.
Um,
Yeah. Middle finger, tears coming out. Oh, you're back.
yes, sir.
Okay, that was quick.
Actually, I started to walk up there, and my wife was on the way up there, and she's like, "What are you after?" I was like, "A cup of coffee." She's like, "I'll make you a cup of coffee." I was like, "Yay!"
Yay! All right, sweet deal. You see how she could just see it without being asked?
Well, I can just about see her where she's sitting right here. She,
But you
she,
didn't ask her to do it. She
not
volunteered.
right. Yeah, she knew. She knew it was up. She knows the score. It's 3 in the
Yeah,
morning over here. We're not used to this.
you're not used to this.
I usually crash out around midnight. I when I started my channel, I was already retired and really didn't have anything to do. So I have a tendency of over focusing on things in my life. So when I started my channel, in order to prevent that from happening, I limited the amount of time I would work on my channel to like 3 hours a day. Because I'm one of those people who'll just jump off in with both feet and never come back out of it until I get fed up with it. And then one day I'll quit and just stop doing it. I don't know where that comes from, but so to keep that from being an issue and to keep it from becoming an issue, in my personal life, I personally, on my own recognizance, decided as a hobby, YouTube shouldn't take up more than a couple hours a day.
Oh yeah.
Just a hobby, right? I'm not doing anything with it. It's not giving me anything. I'm not making any money, nothing like that. So it's just a hobby. I decided if I got 1,000 subs, and I talked to my wife about this beforehand. I said, if I get 1,000 subs or so, I'll see about putting more time into it. I'll take it more seriously. I mean, but until I know whether or not people care what I'm doing, why would I bother? Right? I mean, it may just be 20 people sitting around talking about Magic the Gathering or something. I don't know. It just whatever it turns into. And it turned into this, where I go and I meet people that I want to meet and talk to, and I get to talk to them on their own subject from the horse's mouth, so to speak. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's an amazing ability that I've never had before. And it you can see how much it tickles me. I glow toward the closer I get to the end of a show, the happier I get because I can see it's working. It's doing the thing.
It's doing the thing.
I get to talk to you. I call up NC Tyrant Hunter. You know what I'm saying? I know these people that are they're real. You know what I mean? They're not bots. They're not some imaginary thing out there that I've seen but can't prove exists. You know?
Right. Yeah, you're a conversationalist. Oh, I'm echoing. Oh, you fixed it.
I'm fixing it currently.
Yeah. You're faster at it for sure.
I got it open right in front of me.
Okay.
I just sit here with it open so that when it happens, I can click it.
Yeah, conversations. Not everybody has it, but I do like the style of your streams, the one-on-one, how you have open conversations.
I don't see any other way for this to work.
I mean, I've been saying for a long time that that's what it's all about, uh, and not these crazy drama-filled panels.
I can't do it.
But I mean, I don't watch the crazy drama-filled panels, but peeps do.
I was once a troll in all confession. Once upon a midnight dreary, I had negative things to say on the internet about people, and I said them. I don't do that no more. I try to work on a more positive footing with regardless of what it is I'm trying to do. I try to do it proactively, positively, right? I have no interest in ending this conversation with a disagreement or having an argument over some distinction of linguistic skill or something. I believe we can respect each other as people and we can get along regardless of our individual beliefs. I mean, there's no reason my belief should get in the way of your beliefs. I don't see any reason.
I don't see any reason. Uh, Not at all.
Right? I mean, we should be able to speak on our beliefs and move on just as happy as we were when we met. There is no need in my soul to make you believe the way I do. In fact, I am so desirous of knowing how other people believe. I created an entire YouTube channel wrapped around the concept of just listening.
Just listening. Well, listening is, I mean, it's one thing to listen, but it's another thing to show that you're listening.
Right.
Right.
That is true.
And just because you're listening doesn't mean that the one you're listening to believes you're listening.
Welcome back, Denizen.
Denizen? Oh, yeah. Denizen.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Yeah. See, that's listening, right? See, when you say yeah, obviously that's a word I use, right? And so um, my brain is programmed to hear that word, right? Because I use it. I agree with that word, right? And so it's like that's listening, but it's showing that you're listening.
Oh my! All right, you. Oh, Jingy! How dare you? Look
What
at
did
my.
Jingy do?
Oh, a
A
friend of
friend,
mine was kidnapped by a group of mimes. They did unspeakable things to him.
Jingy's got jokes tonight.
He's got jokes. I got a few jokes. I can't tell most of them on YouTube. I've already told all of them that I can tell on YouTube. They're on my channel. Go watch them. If
Holy
you need
cow, mania!
oh, boy. Good one. I like that. That soothed my savage soul a little bit, I think. Pretty good, dude. I like it. Mm.
More interesting, more entertaining, more educational.
Oh,
Real
yeah.
Jingy.
Do it
Yeah,
right.
yeah. He's been with. He's been watching all three of my channels way back, even before Press On. There was a channel called 6-3 Gemini that doesn't exist anymore, but he was watching even then. That was before I was people.
Yeah.
That
I
was when I first had like looked at the Constitution, and it was like, whoa, like things were making sense. I mean, I knew about the people and stuff, but and I knew that the people had the rights, and it was like, I'll never forget when I realized, when I was like, holy shit, man,
with me,
people have the rights.
yeah, with me, it came as a slow dawning. It wasn't something that I just like realized. I I kept talking to this guy and reading the suggested reading, I guess you could say. And some people would say he may have radicalized me, but I blame Robert Heinlein. If anyone radicalized me, it was Robert Heinlein and Isaac Asimov. They may have, or Diogenes may have radicalized me a little bit, but these people, this guy, he just kept, oh well, try the Federalist Papers. I'll clear that part up. He wouldn't explain it. He'd tell me where to go find the right explanation. And in the process of looking for the explanations, I came across basically the language that you speak written in old documents. And that's because it's the way it's meant.
Yeah,
They wrote what they meant, not what they wanted you to think they meant. They spoke
yeah,
plainly, clearly, with limited meanings for words.
absolutely. They did, but they had to write it in a way that the citizens would agree with too,
Yeah.
right? It had to pass.
The sniff
Um,
test.
well, I mean, it had to get all the signatures. The Constitution I'm talking about.
Yeah, ratification, but I mean that ratification process was largely each group going, giving it a good sniff and seeing whether or not it's to float.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, I mean, there's a lot of hoopla about the Declaration of Independence, right?
Yeah,
Written by a very young Thomas Jefferson.
genius, by the way.
I mean, you could say that,
His
but
ability with
I
words.
wouldn't agree with you. At that time, he was no genius.
Well,
He was
no,
on his way.
his linguistic skills, his ability to turn an eloquent phrase and it still be binding.
Well, the
And he got better.
Declaration of Independence is not binding, except that it established that the people can declare, and that when they do declare, it's a big fucking deal, right? And that's all it did. But nothing from the Declaration of Independence was transferred to the Constitution,
Right.
and they had the Declaration of Independence to look at, and they changed all the words and discarded most of it, right? Like these famous phrases like, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, right? None of that is in the Constitution, and it's not in the Constitution for a reason, right? Because James Madison was like,
Ow.
yeah, yeah, that's great, Thomas, but it just doesn't hold in philosophy, right? It sounded good at the time, but the Declaration of Independence was really just like a an angry rant to your
It
daddy.
was a breakup letter. Yeah, it was a very angry breakup letter, is what the Declaration of Independence was.
Yeah, like,
It
Dad,
was.
I'm
They
not gonna do
didn't want
what
to
you
talk to
say
their
anymore.
boyfriend anymore, and we're going to be seeing different people from now on.
Right, right. I mean, there's a couple words that are in the Constitution from the Declaration: life and liberty. But Thomas Jefferson said life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That was changed to life, liberty, and property.
Right.
Uh,
Which is the very
Thomas
beginning of
Jefferson.
the commercialization of the United States. It happened right out the gate.
No, it's because the pursuit of happiness is only part of property. If you don't have property, the property of the people, then there's nowhere to pursue happiness upon. Right. So it was just short
Okay.
sighted. And
Maybe.
and Thomas Jefferson used the word man or men, right? And that was changed to people, right? So the word man is not in the Constitution, and Thomas Jefferson said that the rights were given by God, whereas in the Constitution it says the people secured the blessings of liberty to themselves. You see, in the only the people can give themselves rights. Nobody, God didn't give the people their rights. People have to stand on their rights. They have to decide that they have rights, right,
Yes.
and stand for them.
But
Um,
Walter, do you really want to get bogged down into the distinctions between the Declaration of Independence and the Articles of Federation?
well, the Articles is just another document that doesn't have any binding. It's just there
Right.
for like forethought. What matters is the Constitution. Okay, that's it. That's the supreme law of the land.
I get
Everything that
he
came
was
before
he
that.
was just pointing out that the Articles followed the Declaration better than the Constitution does. I'm like, okay, that's a good point, but none of that has any bearing once the Constitution is formed.
Right. They had all that to look at and they discarded
Yeah.
it. Right. And it was rewritten in a different way, the correct way. Right. I mean, Adams, he wanted Jefferson to write the Declaration of Independence because Jefferson didn't have any enemies. And so he
Right.
could get that passed. Adams could get it passed, whereas Adams had enemies. So if Adams wrote the Declaration of Independence, his enemies would have blocked it from getting approved, right? So he had a young Thomas Jefferson write it, and it looks like a young Thomas Jefferson wrote it, you know. Um, but uh, but when it came to the Constitution, Madison pretty much did all the writing of that. But nobody was really credited with it. It was a joint effort, you know. But
I
the,
just
the
realized what I've been hearing this whole time. Every now and then it sounds like your volume gets turned down, and I go looking for why, and then it goes away, and I just realized it's the vehicles beside you and your noise cancellation. It's fine.
oh
It's supposed to do that. I didn't
oh
think about it all through the show. It sometimes you were audible, you could be heard. It was just it wasn't, you know. And I
yeah.
kept going, what am I doing wrong? I thought it was something wrong with my computer or something because everything was going weird on me. Anyway, I'm sorry. Hey, we got an answer to this poll over here. Let's see how the poll turned out. Okay, so cop watching is 40%, auditing is 21%, and I thought this was America got 40%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But just for full disclosure, the correct answer wasn't even um, available. The correct answer would have been pressing.
I did think about it when I did it. Once I did it, dude already had 8 votes, and I was like, "Well, I can't take their votes from them. That's just wrong."
Right? That would have been wrong. To discard 8 votes.
Yeah, what would they think when they came back in and there was a totally different poll question? It was exactly the same, except their votes are gone.
They
They
would
think
they
I
would
was
lose
some kind of a
faith.
socialist.
They would lose faith in the elections.
Right? It'd be totally safe and secure and fortified.
Democracy would end as we know it.
It's all over. Next thing you know, there's cats laying down with dogs, birds lying with fish, and there'd be no making any sense at all.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. We covered a lot of business tonight.
I'm actually really happy with all of this, even though it was a little bit different from the way I usually run things. I'm perfectly cool with that. Um, I like different. Different's always good. I'm willing to work with people to get the information they'd like to share out, and I'm not interested in digging up any dirt on anybody. Sorry, I just hear that. I figure you can present yourself as as yourself, or you can try to present yourself as someone else. Either way, it's going to come out eventually. No one can fool everyone all of the time. That's why I don't try to fool people. I mean, I might not act just like this if you found me on the street, but I might. I don't know. It hasn't happened. Couldn't tell you.
It
I
hasn't
doubt it.
happened.
Yeah, it hasn't happened. I was recognized one time, once, right after I started my channel. I had just uploaded my first, I think it was my first Odin Seeds, and it hit 30 some odd thousand views. And I went to the store the next day, and I had the dude in the line in front of me kept turning around and looking at me. And he kept giving me that look like, I know this guy. I know this guy. I didn't say nothing. I just let it go. I went and I paid for my stuff and I started out to the truck. He stopped me. He goes, "Hey man, is there some reason I might know you?" At this point, I was on vacation. So I was like a state away. "No, there's no reason why you should know me." He's like, "Man, you look real familiar to me." I said, "Like, how familiar?" "Like, I saw you this morning." "Do you have a phone?" "Yeah." "Do you watch YouTube?" "I don't know. I watch little shorts, I guess." "I'm Odin." "I don't get it, man." And he got in his truck and left. And he just didn't get it. I've got a bit that I do on my channel called Odin Sees, where I dressed up as Odin and said some crap. And then I go show some stupid TikTok videos, right? Whole cuz totally nailed it and then walked away, just didn't get it.
Didn't get it.
Just he knew he had seen me, and the way, I don't know if they still do it, but back in the day when or a year or so ago when YouTube when they were starting their whole shorts thing, they had a geographic notification system. So if you were in the Southeast, it would notify people around you, and then around you, and then around you, and as long as you kept the momentum going on whatever it was that you had posted, people kept watching, so to speak, um, it would keep getting more views, you know? Now they've changed it a little bit, and it's no longer geographically linked at all. It's think linked to when people subscribe to your channel or maybe how long they've been subscribed, because my old subscribers get notifications. My new subscribers do not get notifications. I don't know why. It's for you, me, baby.
I don't know. That was on TikTok.
No, I do most of my work on YouTube. I do have a TikTok. I do have an Instagram. I do have these things, but it's just because I'm a bit of a completionist. So whenever I started Caucasian Sasquatch, I got the YouTube, I got the Instagram, I got the Twitter, I got all of it when I went through and did it. I had a little plan, and I've ruined all of it, but it's worked well.
You had a little plan.
I had a little plan, and none of it worked, but it worked out okay.
Plans never survive first contact with the enemy.
Exactly. Forgive me, Susan, for I have sinned.
Or
Yeah,
as Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
that's right. Till you catch one in the face, you've probably got a pretty good idea what's going on. Suddenly you don't.
Yeah,
And I I never did any kind of like professional real boxing at all. I did get my brakes beat off by a few people though. Like they put on the gloves and whooped me up around my skull long enough for me to decide that wasn't the kind of life I wanted.
that wasn't
When
the
it
life.
occurred to me I had the freedom to take those gloves off, I said, "Shh, okay."
Hmm.
Now, my first encounter with boxing is funny. I went to a place called Smiley's in Augusta, in Georgia, and it's one of the biggest flea markets in the southeast. There might be a couple of bigger ones down in South Carolina, and maybe another bigger one up towards Virginia, but it's one of the biggest. And we get there, and we are running around doing stuff at the flea market, and everything's cool. We're having fun. We're just there. A buddy of mine's got some stuff to sell, and I'm just here to look around. I'm just hanging out. I'm not doing nothing really. And I come across this dude who was selling boxing gloves. And I was like, dude, how much for a pair of boxing gloves? He's like, $45. I was like, suppose I take a pair of these boxing gloves and beat the brakes off of anybody you point at. How much would they be then? He said, free if you can beat him. And I knew I'd screwed up. I knew immediately I had made an error because this man looked like he was made of like twined rope, like not an ounce of body fat anywhere. And when he stood up, he seemed to sort of levitate a little bit. I said, man, all right. Okay. Well, I done thrown the gauntlet down. I ain't got no choice. I got to follow through, right? That man beat me black, blue, and bloody, but he could not knock me down. He wasn't quite big enough or heavy enough to hit me hard enough to put me down. And so he kept hitting me, and I just kept standing there and taking it because I couldn't quite get a glove on him. He was just, he is much faster than me. And so I'd catch him and glance off, and this went on and on. I don't know how long it went on. Finally, they stopped it. He gave me the gloves, like, here, you can have them. Like, if you want them that bad that you're willing to let this man beat you into a coma, you can have them. I was like, thanks, dude. Just wandered off wearing them.
Thanks,
That's
dude.
awesome. Yeah, thanks, dude.
Yeah.
The guy that I was boxing was like, did that just happen? Turns out, and I didn't find this out until the next day, there's a boxing uh like gym down there where like legitimate boxers train, and this dude operated half the gym. And the guy that he had put me up against was one of his up and coming guys that he just threw in against anybody, sparring partner basically. It was an interesting. I met Lex Luger.
Lex Luger.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect it, except the powerhouses in Augusta, so it kind of makes sense.
Oh, Augusta.
Yeah,
That's where
right.
you're.
Yeah, I met Lex Luger. I met the Giant, not Andre the Giant, but the other big dude. That used to be called the Giant. Sting, and somebody else. I saw Ric Flair, but I missed him. I missed him. I was running through the crowd screaming, "Whoa!"
Oh my.
I was all the way at the other end of that place, and I was climbing up on top of a pile of carpets to hand down some to somebody. And I looked over, there's Ric Flair walking along, and I went, "That's the Nation Boy." And I slid down the ladder and took off running. And everybody else was going, "Where's my damn carpet?" I said, "Screw your carpet. I'm going to see Ric Flair." Y'all are
Oh my.
crazy. Ain't no carpets. Ric Flair.
Ric Flair. I never really liked Ric Flair.
Hey, dude, I was like 19 or 20 at the time. Don't judge me too hard. I was young and on a lot of drugs. Just
I'm
let it
judging the shit out of you right
go
now.
ahead. Okay, judge me real fucking hard then. If that's what make you feel better. Fine.
The Undertaker. The
Missed him too.
Undertaker is
He was
badass.
there earlier that day, and I missed him. I was somehow I was on the wrong side of the place when he come through. I was running. I heard he was there, and I ran off over to go find him, and he had just went that way, and then he'd just gone over there.
The Undertaker.
Yeah, this was all in the same weekend. Yeah, All of them. There was a. I don't remember
Mark Calloway.
why they were all in Augusta, but they went to Augusta for some event that they were doing. And while they were in Augusta, they all swung by the guy who, like I said, the dude who run the boxing gym had a place at the flea market. The guys who run the powerhouse over here had a stall at the flea market. They sold like the little arm elbow pads and the knee pads. Like you want to be a wrestler in the ring, you get you some little speedos with a name on its butt. They had all that stuff.
All that stuff.
All of it, dude. It was great. You come out of there looking just like the Ultimate Warrior, except maybe you need
I
a
liked
sand.
the Ultimate Warrior and
No,
Bret
I
the
like.
Hitman Hart.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, okay. I think my favorite of all time, and it's just because he was so savage. Are you familiar with New Jack?
No.
All right, go look up New Jack. If you miss New Jack, you missed a hell of a wrestler. First of all, wrestling is fake, right? Not with New Jack in the ring.
Tell that to mankind, man.
Okay, all right. I'm not gonna say that out loud in front of people, but wrestling is fake. And
Tell
New Jack,
mankind that wrestling's fake.
we'll get to that later. But New Jack was the one wrestler in the group that didn't read the scripts and didn't play that shit. He was fired from every wrestling organization he was ever part of and rehired at least twice for injuring people. Literal assault.
I think I have heard of New Jack. He was in ECW with.
Oh, he was in all of them. He wrestled in Japanese leagues for a little while because he wasn't allowed in the U.S.
Right. Right.
I think he gave Bam Bam Bigelow a concussion with a bare hand slap.
Bam
Pretty
Bam.
sure that was. Do you remember Bam Bam getting slapped like damn near out of the ring by a big black guy?
No.
It happened on one of the pay-per-view, or before pay-per-view was really a thing. Anyway, this dude shows up. Nobody, I mean, nobody had ever heard of the guy. He just shows up and he just walks out into the ring. Bam Bam Bigelow and a handful of the other folks are out there doing stuff. I can't remember what all was going on. New Jack walks into the middle of the ring, says it's his ring, starts slapping folks out of it. Everybody and their brother, including Vince McMahon, told him he had to get out of the ring. He said no, it's his. So for 20 minutes, the entire show is stopped by New Jack walking around going, it's mine, y'all can't have it. And then he said he got thirsty and he left and the match continued. I'm gonna go get something to drink. I'll be back. He left. They took him off the card for the night. He got mad, came out and started whooping folks in the crowd. What?
Yeah.
Hey, go check him out, dude. New Jack is it. He was the real deal.
The real deal.
The most dangerous wrestler. In fact, Count Dankula did a entire video on him. Mad Lads. He did a Mad Lads video on him.
Mad Labs.
Yeah, Count Dankula does this on YouTube. He does these videos where he goes and finds the most savage, audacious people in history, and then tells their savage and audacious story and how it came to be in that, in that light. Like, he doesn't just tell the story, he tells the circumstances surrounding the story. And he's usually not a serious YouTuber, but on this particular series, his heart's really in it. It's one of those things where you can see that he loves what he does.
Yeah, I've never seen that channel.
I mean, it's not something I'd expect you to be watching. He was he was the guy. Yeah, no, he did cut a he did cut a kid in the ring. Count Dankula is the guy who was arrested in Scotland for the Nazi pug. Just because he put up a video of a pug in a little Nazi uniform.
Just because.
Yeah, it offended some people in Europe, and so they arrested him in Scotland.
They have different laws over there.
Yes, sir. They certainly do. And I do not envy it.
Right.
We got about another 8 minutes, and I'm going to call it on this evening. I appreciate every minute that you've been here, brother. I really do. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this conversation for sure. Absolutely, I love conversation. You're glowing.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to glow. Don't
You don't.
hate me because I'm beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. But you brought up Scotland and the UK, and I've noticed that there's a lot of, well, at least a couple um, troll channels from over on that side of the pond
Yep.
trying to go after auditors and stuff
Yep.
over here.
And you know
And
how much of an opinion they have? Whatever opinion they want. Do you know how much it matters? Nothing.
right, it doesn't. But I mean, it's just my point is that we kicked the Brits out of this country twice, and now they're over on that little island and shit,
Uh-huh.
trying to complain about
Word.
how, and they say things like, "Oh, you know, this isn't tyranny. It's much worse in other countries, right?" And that's got to be the dumbest excuse I've ever heard. Or like, I'm really curious, like where the line is at. This is tyranny, and this isn't tyranny,
Might be at the
right?
bottom of the paycheck. That might be
Right?
why.
Or like, let me phrase it a different way. Like, when does somebody become a Nazi? I mean, did they become a Nazi when they developed the plan, or was it at the 11th millionth Jew that they burned? Right? Like, I mean,
Uh,
was it at 10 million Jews they weren't Nazis yet? Like, it wasn't. You can't compare anybody to Nazis because they haven't killed 11 million Jews yet. Like,
well,
I'm not sure. When did it start? Like, can you not see the path, the events leading to the same outcome? Right? Like, is it not okay to stand up and be like, this is tyranny now because um I don't know, maybe there's just a different standard over here, in this
there's
country.
definitely a different standard over here.
Yeah,
People
like,
over here will immediately stand up, start talking trash, even if they don't know their rights. It's just a knee jerk reaction from half the population. It's to scream that they got rights, even if they've never read them and don't care nothing about them.
yeah, I
They
got
don't know what
right.
they are. They don't know how to use them. They don't know what they're for. They just know they got them and they're gonna use them right now as soon as I figure out where they're at and how to pick them up.
Right. I got right.
Rights ain't got no handles on them, baby. You carry them or you don't.
Well, they were wearing them around their neck and stuff, but then they got Debo came up and ripped their rights off. It's like, those are my rights.
Son, did you just Rick roll me? I think I just got Rick rolled. That was good. I like that. That was
Yeah,
real good. I may put a Rick roll when I do the edit here. You go, see, that's the thing. This is why I'm laughing so hard. Y'all don't get to see the stupid video edits that I have in my head for this stuff. When I hear stuff, it occurs to me that it'd be funny if there was a Rick roll right there.
a Rick roll. Yeah, right. Shorts are really good. I don't do any. I have a lot of ideas and stuff, and like, but the editing is I do everything on my phone, and I'm really limited.
I'm suddenly really confused. I'm sorry. Walter Davis is trying to sleep on his boat in a parking lot. All right, so you missed the water. You need to take the boat elsewhere, dude. That's the solution to this problem. You're not supposed to be on a boat in a parking lot. You're supposed to be on a boat in a lake or the ocean or maybe a river. There's your problem.
A
You're
boat
using
and a trip in a parking lot down by the river.
down by the river.
That's one way to do it. Yeah, yeah.
They're over here singing the Rick Roll song.
There's some real troopers that stayed around this
Oh
whole.
yeah, no, we still got 8 people in here, and it hasn't gone below 8 or I think I had 7 at one point. I think that was the lowest it went, but I don't trust StreamYards to tell me that trash anyway. Um, Oh, he's painting the bottom. That explains why it's not in the water.
That explains it for sure.
Yep. All right, man. You got anything you want to tell everybody before we do in this whole shenanigan?
Press on, press harder, press now.
All right, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
talk to you in just a second. All right, folks. Y'all know where this is, and y'all know what happens now. I'm not even going to do the pretty thing. I'm just going.